Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold up, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good afternoon. Good morning. And good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. What's up? What's poppin'? It's Thursday. Woo-hoo! It's Thursday, baby. Thank you, baby Jesus. We're almost there. The weekend's almost here, even though we'll still be working on the weekend. But it doesn't matter. The weekend is going to be here. Okay? Yes. 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 Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are doing great out there. Hope this show finds you in great spirits, because another day above the dirt is always what a blessing. Yeah. Anyway, what is poppin', everybody? Yeah, I mean, you know, when we're talking about all this gloom and doom and all this bad stuff, and you know what I mean? It sucks. It sucks. So you just kind of have to look at things you kind of have to look at the bright side of life. You know what I'm saying? And just try to keep a smile on your face, especially when we're about to talk about some very, very disturbing stuff. I'm just giving you a straight up heads up. Yeah, we're going in hot today. All right. From yesterday. It's bad. I'm just letting you know. But good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. You get nap time? Shoot, I am jealous. Nap time? Word? I am jealous. It's almost nap time. Ugh. It's been a minute since I've had a nap. When was the last time y'all had a nap? Pop quiz. Anyway, hopefully you guys are doing well. Now I'm a little jealous now. Like, I was happy, and then you said you get to have nap time. I don't, though. I got to keep pushing through, and then I got to look forward to sleep if I even get it tonight. You feel me? Now I'm salty, man. Now I'm salty. I was in a great mood starting with this show, but then you had to come up with that nap time. Now I'm envious. I'm angry. I'm jealous. What the hell? Anyway, hope you guys are all doing well out there. Hope this show is doing well for you. Okay? If you're getting a nap, lucky you. Okay? Hopefully you guys all doing well out there. Hope the show finds you in great spirits. Again, another day above the dirt is always a blessing. We are going to be getting into some serious stuff here, guys. I'm just letting you know it gets really gnarly right off the top. Okay? And you already know what we're here for. To discuss disgusting dookie face doo-doo head D4VD. Okay? Dookie face doo-doo head D4VD. Just so you know. If you're not looking at the title down below or up above, wherever you're watching the show right here, then I got a great reading program for you. It's called Hooked on Phonics. Does that still exist? Hooked on Phonics? Anyway, so we're here to do that preliminary hearing stuff. It's day number 3 up in this mug. And we got some things we're going to be talking about. So please do me a favor. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do it, do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms, like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, I'm on all them mugs, man. Just hit the follow button. Damn. On those platforms. Damn. I'm giving you so much info on Facebook. It's crazy. Okay? On other cases and things. Because sometimes we ain't got time. We're stuck talking about D4VD. While other cases and bad things are going on. Evil doings is going on. Okay? Does Hooked on Phonics still exist? I'm being dead ass. Does Hooked on Phonics still exist? Or is that like an old thing now? Does it still exist? Hooked on Phonics? Anybody? I'm asking a dead ass serious question. Is that still around? I digress. Hit that subscribe button down below. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Go to my second channel, please, and thank you. Go to the second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there. Okay? Subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload on both channels. Because honestly, it's random. It's breaking news or whatever I can get into this mother-loving dungeon that I'm in right now. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon and check out PascalMerch.com. PascalMerch.com. It's fantastic. Some ASMR. PascalMerch.com. It's fire. It's really fire. Check it out. PascalMerch.com. All right? Okay. Oh boy, we got a lot to talk about. There's a lot that was unearthed yesterday, and it's very disturbing because I thought when I was wrapping up the day, because I can only do so many hours a day, at least over the next couple days, unfortunately, because of my schedule and because of life. All right. And hopefully I'll be able to do starting next week, if it bleeds into next week, this preliminary hearing, I'll do much longer. Okay, much longer lives starting next week. So when we got done with yesterday, day number 2, only half of day number 2, okay, I thought they were just going to be stuck on talking about finances forever. And for me, that's a little like, cool, he makes millions of dollars. Cool. He took her life because he was worried about financial gain. But I feel like no matter what, if he was just like a Spotify rapper, you know what I mean? Like a SoundCloud rapper, for crying out loud. I still think no matter what, he would have done what he did because of fear of his life being absolutely destroyed, for truth coming out, for him being the nasty, dookie head, doo-doo face, D4VD that he is. That's it. But they're like, so he made that much money? He made millions of dollars, everybody. He made millions of dollars, courtroom. Judge, he made millions of dollars. There's grounds to believe that he did this because he was worried about his money. Of course. Of course. How are we surprised? How is this a... Oh my gosh, word? He took her life because he had all that money? Doesn't matter if he was a broke-ass dude smoking weed, playing video games, smelling like dirty drawers and Doritos. He still would have done what he did because he didn't want that truth to come out, because for a fact he would turn into a social pariah. He would look like an absolute monster for doing what he did to Celeste, and then he'd be thrown into the mother-loving slammer for what he did. Doesn't matter if he was flipping burgers, working at Taco Bell, or busking for change out there in the streets going, I don't care, right in front of a Starbucks. Doesn't matter. I don't care about the finances. I don't care about the finances. Because he still would have done what he did because he's a monster. Damn it. I said it. Oh, it feels so good saying that out loud. I was holding that in, but because of you guys, I could actually say that out loud. I really wanted to say that earlier, but I didn't know how to express it. But it was all caught up in here. You know what I'm saying? Like you ate too much, you feel stuffed, all the way up to your lungs. You know what I'm saying? Stuffed to the gills. You feel me? It's ooh, ooh. Or you ate some chili with maybe a little bit too much jalapenos in that mug, You feel a little bit like you don't know if you need to poop or burp, or throw up, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe all three at the same damn time. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I felt right here. I felt that right here, So again, feels good. Feels good. Feels good. Feels good. Feels good. I feel better now. I feel much lighter, you know? Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for letting me express my feelings. But I don't care about the finance. I don't care. Unless the finances means that he was paying her off, or he was paying somebody else off to hide information or to hide the body, stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Oh, thank you so much, Trey. Good to see you again. Yay, Trey's in the chat. Thanks, Trey. Thank you. Oh, you mean acid reflux? Yeah. Thank you so much, Trey. Thank you so much. Your words are profound. It's like Shakespeare. It's like poetry. I appreciate it. Acid reflux. I'm playing. All love, Trey. All love, Trey. One day I'm going to meet him. He's going to sock me in the face. I'll be like, what did I do? You know what you did. You know what you did. You know what I mean? Don't do that. Just give me a high five or a hug. You know what I mean? Don't sock me in the face, okay? Okay? One day this face will make money, okay? I just saying that out loud. All right. But nonetheless, they were on finances before we got done. Okay? And it was boring. I'm not going to lie. But I get it was important, but at the same time, I feel like he would have done whatever he needed to do, regardless if he had money in the bank or not. The other thing, though, is true. They also revealed that, hey, one of the financiers, Gregor, did know a lot about what was going on. He did. He lied during the his grand jury testimony. But when he went to the stand yesterday, he suddenly came around and said, oh, by the way, I lied. I lied about that. In fact, I'm going to pull that up just to recap real quick before we get into the nitty gritty, because it gets nitty and gritty real fast. Okay. And we got apparently footage as well. But he did say this. Let me show it to you guys real quick. Quick trip down memory lane. Shout out to SF Investigates for giving us this information. But let's just look at the red box, right? Look at the red box over here. If you can see my mouse, okay? As you can see my red pointer over here, we got a box circling around the very important piece of information. And what they're saying here is that, yeah, during his grand jury testimony, he said one thing. But during his preliminary hearing testimony, he said something completely different, like what SF Investigates said here. In what I believe was key testimony from yesterday's transcript of D4VD's preliminary hearing, financial advisor Benjamin Gregor changed his grand jury testimony and acknowledged that he asked manager and personal assistant to D4VD, all right, Rob Morgenroth, exactly what had happened after the body was found in David's ride. Okay? So, Gregor's answer was not entirely clear, and for some reason, Beth Silverman did not attempt to clarify it. However, he testified, he did tell me, yes. So let's go over the transcript, right? So, I recall portions of that, yes. Is that true, or is your testimony today true? Because she's talking about the grand jury testimony and today's testimony. And she's like, well, according to the grand jury transcripts, you said that you didn't know anything about it, that there was no conversations about Celeste, etc. After her body was found, right? You're saying something completely different now. So is what you're saying back then true, or what you're telling right now true? So he says, I'd say my testimony today is true. So he lied during his grand jury testimony, which is bad. Okay? So, moving on. Let's see. Okay, so going back to the transcript. Okay, so when you said at the grand jury that you didn't ask Rob any questions because you didn't want to know, that would not be correct. That would not be correct, right? I'd say that's not correct. Yeah. So he changed his story. Okay. So what questions did you ask Rob about the details? I asked Rob plainly what had happened. And what did he tell you? He did tell me yes. So he told her, okay, that Rob, Morgan Roth, confided in him and told him exactly what was going on, right? But in the grand jury testimony that he had, he was basically like, my name's Bennett, I ain't in it, I don't know a damn thing, which is very interesting, right? So you have that. And this is the financial advisor to not only D4VD, but D4VD's mama, Colleen Burke, who runs all of his finances. She's in control of all of his money, okay? And I'm going to tell you right now, they're sitting there going like, well, or at least his team is sitting there going, so that means that he doesn't know he doesn't know where his money is going. If he's not really in control of his money, he doesn't know anything. Just because his mom may have been like, I think you should invest in this, and you should invest in that, and we should get some properties here, and here. We should get some trusts and so on and so forth, so you protect your money and all that stuff before he ever raised a knife to Celeste Rivas's body. Does not automatically mean he's not keeping an eye on his money. Does not mean that he's side-eyeing and keeping one eye open on his money. Trust me, you got to keep one eye open on your money. Trust me, if you start looking the other way, that money going to go. That money going to disappear. You keep one eye open on your money, people. Remember that, fam. Keep one eye open on your money. All right? Because as soon as you become complacent, shoot, suddenly that money goes slipping. It just slips away. And you're like, how am I in the negative? There was 12 grand in this account. What the hell? You see what I'm saying? So, again, just because he's sitting there going like, oh, yeah, he's not really concerned about where his money's coming from. Shut up. He knew exactly where his money was. You knew for a fact he was looking, okay? He was looking at situations, okay? He was looking at his money. He was looking at his bank account. He's like, okay, I still got these millions. They still there. How did he get access to the money to pay off the person, the classmate of Celeste's that he bought a burner phone, paid them $1,000 to give her that burner phone so that he could stay in contact with Celeste? I'm just saying, he has access to his money. What are you going to do? Hey, Mom? Yes, D4VD? Is it okay if I grab like $1,000 out of the account? I don't see any problem with that, but can I ask you what for? I need to pay off my 13-year-old girlfriend's friend to hand her a burner phone so I can stay in touch with my 13-year-old girlfriend. Oh. Yeah, that's fine. Hold on. Let me actually hold on. Let me check with your financial advisor, Gregor, and let me talk to your dad, Dawad. Let me ask him. Hold on, honey. But Mom, hold on, honey. Hold on. Dawad. Yeah. Your son wants to take out about $1,000 in his personal account so that he could buy a burner phone and pay one of Celeste's classmates' friends to hand that burner phone over to her so he can be in contact with his 13-year-old girlfriend. Do you think that's okay? Would that be okay to withdraw that $1,000, Dawad? Yeah, I don't see any problem with it. You cool with it? Yeah, I think I am. Yeah. I think I'm cool with that. Yeah, fine. Okay, Dad, that's cool. Just don't forget to get a receipt. Come on now. Oh, we're here all day, everybody. We're here all the day. Okay? So you mean to tell me he's just calling up mama? Can I borrow the money? Thank you, Mom. And he just runs off to Wells Fargo or wherever the hell he has to run, Chase Bank or Bank of America to get his money? Mommy said it's okay. And he's a grown-ass man. Come on now. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But think about it. Can you imagine? So, in other words, it would make no earthly sense, okay? It would make no sense at all for him to be calling up mama and being like, yo, hey, yo, mama Colleen, can I borrow some money? Can I borrow my own money? Like, that makes no sense. None. So, like I said, I don't care about the money. I don't care about the finances because no matter what, he did this. No matter what, he did this because he was worried about his career, his whole life. It's more than just finances, guys. It's his entire life being destroyed. That's it. All of his friends, the notoriety, the accolades, the fame, everything would pivot on a dime. And his life would be over if she was to go out there and expose him for the PDF file that he is. So it doesn't matter about the money. It does make you wonder, maybe Mama Colleen knew about everything. Maybe Mama Colleen knew about everything. That is something that I'm very interested about. If you're talking about the finances, that is something that could be unearthed within those finances. But he took her life because he was concerned not only about the money, it was about his whole entire livelihood. It was his entire life hanging at the balance, because it would take 2 seconds for her to go on video or post a photo or tweet something or go onto her social media and expose his whole ass to the world. Let's not forget the phone. Hold on, y'all. Let's talk about the phone. Meow. We have a phone, a light blue phone that was registered under Celeste Rivas's email address for her iCloud, right? Now, hold on. Before I continue, I just want to, it's another theory. 'Tis another theory, but we got to talk about it nonetheless. Hold on. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Hold on. I got a question for y'all. Okay? 1 second. Let me just pull up what Lauren Conlon broke down in her tweet. I hope I can find it real quick. 2 seconds, y'all. Damn it. Where is it? Let's see. Purchases. Where they at? Where are those doggone purchases? Or not the purchases. I'm sorry. Her breakdown. Hold on. Shoot. Is it this? Yep. Here it is. Boom. Let's talk about this iPhone, light blue iPhone 15 phone. This is just another theory. This is another theory. And hear me out. And I'm going to preface this by saying I could be 110% wrong. I could be absolutely off with this, but I'm going to say it nonetheless. Now, this iPhone 15, light blue, okay, recovered from his home, okay? So let's take a look. Defense attorney Blair Burke also challenged investigators' claim that a light blue iPhone 15 Pro Max recovered from Burke's home belonged to him. During direct examination, buyers had testified that the phone belonged to Burke based on information recovered from the actual device, including selfies and personal items. On cross-examination, however, Burke pointed to a search warrant affidavit related to Celeste Rivas's iCloud account and email addresses, including abigailblue977 at icloud.com, and questioned whether Investigators had previously linked the light blue phone to Celeste instead. When Burke asked buyers about the actual warrant, he initially said he did not recall the specific language he used until he reviewed the actual document. So he then reviewed it, and then buyers testified the affidavit referred to the email account belonging to Celeste, not ownership of the actual cell phone itself. The exchange became a little heated, and then, of course, the ADA, Beth Silverman is objecting, and Burke is bouncing back and forth, and they were getting into a little bit of a tizzy. Right? Now, let's talk about this mother-loving blue phone. Here's the thing. There's a lot of people that have a lot of theories about maybe this is where all the content was, the nasty, disturbing, illegal content was. I think there's something else going on. I think that this adds to the timeline, moments, and motive of why she was brought over to his home where he savagely unalived her. This phone was in her possession. I'm going to say that again. This phone was in Celeste's possession. Right? He hits her up, says, hey, baby, please, baby, please, give me another chance. Baby, I'm different. I changed. I won't be the same butthole I've been. I know I'm a dookie face, doo-doo head D4VD sometimes. My bad. I could be better. No more dookie face, doo-doo head. No more dookie face, right? And she goes, okay, I'll come over. Bet. I'm sending you a ride right now. He sends the ride. She takes that hour and a half. He's probably texting sweet nothings, you know what I mean? Maybe throwing out old photos of them being all cuddly and cute, and you know what I mean? Because he's trying to warm her up, butter her up, entice her even more as she's coming to the house. Then she walks into the house with that phone that she could be messaging with, that light blue phone in her hands as she walks into the house, and he straight up takes her life. And then takes the phone from her hands as he watches her slowly fade away. Then he goes and buys the shovel. I think he throws her in the back of the car, drives out to Santa Barbara with all of her belongings, throws those things out of the car, tries to bury her with the shovel. He cracks on this cold ground, realizes, damn, shoveling is really hard, and these dainty hands, this is just not going to work. This is just not giving. And he said, no, I got to figure out another thing. So then he put her body back in the car, drove back into his house, into that mansion in the Hollywood Hills, and sat on it for several days. And that's when he goes, Eureka, I got an idea. Chainsaws. And that's when he started buying the red and black chainsaw, the little dainty handheld black and pink. Ooh, it's gonna goes with the ensemble. It's going to kill. Okay, it's going to kill, girl. With the freaking pink and black chainsaw. And then he didn't use those two. He ended up buying a whole other chainsaw a couple more days later, alongside with the kiddie pool and other items as well. So, yeah, those hands, girl, were not built for blue collar work. Okay, that's exactly what's going on. He was like, bang, oh my God, a splinter, ew. Ew, splinter in my finger, ew. That's what happened. And he's like, I can't do this. And I can't pay anybody else to do this for me. And then he went back home and he sat on it and he thought about it. But the real reason why, I think, one of the main reasons why he really wanted her back home to his house is so that he can get his hands on that phone. I think that phone was always been in her possession the entire time. No, I don't think it was just sitting around in his house, chilling all willy-nilly. I think that phone she was using. She was using that phone. Straight up. And then he's like, man, I need to get that. I can't just let her do, because here's the thing. She's about to expose his whole ass. literally and more metaphorically speaking. Remember that. Literally and metaphorically speaking. If there was spicy content, disgusting, deplorable, illegal content on this mother-loving phone, you don't think he would want to have that in his possession? Especially when she's saying, I'm about to expose you for the monster that you are? Think about it. Think about it. I truly think, this is just a theory of mine, that that blue phone was in Celeste Rivas Hernandez's possession the entire time. And maybe he gave that to her so she has a little bit of control. Maybe. No, you can keep all the content. All that content's on you, girl. That's in your possession. Cool. Think about it. If it's true that the phone had that content on that phone, that would give him motive to get her, and she had it in her possession, that would be motive to get her from where she was, back at home, all the way up to the Hollywood Hills. So you're sitting there, he's sitting there, talking it up, being all nice and ooey gooey, being so cute, talking to her like he talked to her when they first met, I'm sure. Saying sweet nothings in these text messages, maybe a quick little phone call as she's en route up to the Hollywood Hills, because it's an hour and a half. Buttering her up, getting her excited, thinking that they're going to work things out and they're going to be a couple again. And then she walks into the place with the phone in hand and he takes her life. So now he has the evidence of wrongdoing and her stopped. Just saying. Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it, Pascal. I'm thinking the live-in bodyguard helped. It's possible. I think because the fact that we haven't heard anything about Sheldon, we haven't heard a damn thing about Sheldon. I think it's going to be interesting to hear what Sheldon has to say. You never know. We might hear something and be like, you know what I mean? And he may have seen or done something for him. But like I said, the details that we're hearing now, after the finances, which was kind of boring. Sorry. Necessary, but boring. Now we're getting into very, very spicy meatballs. So let's get into it. So shout out to Lauren Conlon for the fantastic reporting, okay? And I don't know who's in the room, okay? I don't know who's in the room right now, in the courtroom. But obviously, day number 3 has commenced. It has begun. They are up there and doing their thing. And you know what? Tell me, guys. You know what? Before we go into, part 2 of day 2, and then we go into part 1 here of day 3, I want to know, what do you think? What do you think? Do you think that the phone was a motive to get her up there? Remember, I'm about to destroy your life. I'm going to tell everybody who you are. She has all this content, all this smoking gun evidence, potentially on that phone that could expose everything. He needs to get that phone. He needs to get that phone. Right? And he needs her to stop talking. So what he's going to do, in one fell swoop, he's taking her life and he's taking the phone. She will never speak about any of it. But then at the same time, he's also holding on to the phone, which is wild because he's on the phone, or he has the phone, right, And instead of him going out of his way to try to destroy it, he keeps it. That's weird. That's weird. If I'm correct, they found the phone. Testified a phone belonged based on information recovered from the device. Hold on. Wait. Claim that a light. Okay, recovered from his phone. This phone was recovered from his phone. And they're saying, of course, prosecution saying that this phone belonged to him. But in actuality, it was under her name. I think he was paying the cell phone bill. He gave her that phone. She registered everything under her name. She was using that phone at that time, using whatever, and then, putting content on there. It doesn't matter because it's still CSAM allegedly on that phone. Doesn't matter if he owns it or not. If his face is in these photos and you can see clear as day that it's him in his birthday suit doing God knows what in this content, doesn't matter. It's still illegal. Still proof of wrongdoing. And that could be one of the reasons why D4VD went out of his way to lure this young girl back into his clutches. Just saying. Okay? You're welcome. Stop! Oh, I know. Stop it. Stop it. Stop. Seriously. Oh my. You don't have to clap again. It's just a theory. Okay? I know, though. I know it's crazy. I'm a genius, Let's come up with these things, It's crazy. Anyway, here's the thing. We're going to see what happens here. But it gets even more dark, okay? Or it gets darker. Whatever, okay? It gets even more dim. How's that? I guess dimmer is the other word too. But here's the thing. This second part. So let's get into it. Quantum VP, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. He's like, makes sense. Thank you. Damn it. You know what? You want to know what? Because it does make sense. It does. Quantum VP, thank you, bro. Thank you. Makes sense. Okay? Yeah, acid reflux. You know what I'm saying? Just Trey. So let's move on. Okay? Let's get into this. So, afternoon update during quick break. Okay? Let's get into it. Before testimony resumed, there were two slightly tense and awkward moments. So, Patrick Steinfeld, okay, the civil attorney representing Celeste Rivas' family, asked to make a record after being told that he couldn't use his laptop in court. Interesting, right? So he wasn't allowed to use his laptop, but we just heard that, didn't we hear from, what's his face? Trapmore Ross? Didn't Trapmore Ross say that he was able to use his laptop on the second half of the preliminary hearing? So that doesn't make any sense. But anyway, so the judge admonished him and instructed him to be more respectful to the court staff. Interesting. So the court has strict rules regarding electronics. But again, somebody was able to use their mother-loving laptop. So make sense. Does that make sense to you? So the defense attorney, Blair Burke, then argued that she had not received a prosecution presentation that would be used during the next witness's testimony. The prosecutor, Beth Silverman, loudly disagreed, saying that the defense had been provided the materials. LAPD criminalist Murillo resumed testimony about processing Burke's Tesla Model X, where Celeste's body was actually, found. She was found in the front trunk of this Tesla, the frunk of the Tesla. She testifies that the Tesla smelled consistent with human decomposition, and investigators observed significant insect activity inside the front trunk or the frunk, including maggots and dead flies, which is absolutely disturbing. We saw several air fresheners throughout the vehicle, including inside the rear doors and in the frunk, where the air fresheners were covered in maggots and liquid. All right, disgusting. Okay. She also testified investigators used phenol. I don't know what that is. Phenolphthalein. I don't know what that is. Okay, I'm gonna have to look that up. And Blue Star, a chemical enhancement similar to luminol. Okay. During their examination of the Tesla, photos showed several reddish stains inside the rear cargo area, the rear of the car. The rear of the car, by the way, not the front of the car, the rear, okay? And third row seating that produced presumptive, positive results for blood. Murillo testified laboratory testing would be required to confirm whether the substance was actually blood. The USB flash drive was recovered from the Tesla's glove compartment. We do not know what it contains. Okay, so here's the thing: they sprayed the back row. Okay, they sprayed the back row of the car, or they sprayed the entire car, and apparently the back of that car lit up like a damn Christmas tree, lit up like the 4th of July. Okay, like bad, like super, super bad. So again, what was in the back of the car? I have theories. Part of it, like I already said to you before, he lured her in, he took her life, and as he was sitting there trying to figure out what he was going to do, he put her in the back of his car. And I think that he did go out there to the wilderness, okay, to throw out her belongings, and also she was riding along with him with that shovel that he had, and he probably put that in the back seat as well, along with her remains. That's what I'm saying. It just doesn't make any sense, because you think that he would go and maybe hide her out somewhere else or something like that. But I think he used his car not only to store her, to hide her, but I also think that he put her in there with plans of taking her somewhere and, getting rid of her body, burying her and saying goodbye, in some shallow grave out in some wooded area. And then he changed his mind, either because he's a dainty little, zesty little boy, or because he freaked out and he was like, no, she'll get unearthed. Somebody will find her. So he tried to figure out, oh, maybe I do a Breaking Bad approach. You know that show Breaking Bad? Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll take her body apart and then I'll dissolve her body in some chemicals or something like that. But he never got to the chemical part. Maybe. You know what I'm saying? But again, he is a piece of trash. All right. The USB drive. All right. So they said, okay, first off, photos showed several reddish stains inside the rear cargo area. So in the back of the car, and third row seating that produced a serious amount of positive results for blood. Okay. Then Murillo testified that laboratory testing would be required to confirm whether the substance was actually blood. But let's be real. Come on now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? If it looks like a duck and squawks like a duck, it's probably a duck, So for them to be like, well, there was a lot of just a whole lot of red in the back of the car. It looked like it came back as blood, but we don't know for sure whether or not that is her. What, did he go hunting and kill a deer? Did he go hunting with his Tesla and kill a deer? Go run over a whole bunch of armadillos? And just throw them in the back of the car? So it's like, no, it's just a whole bunch of wildlife I accidentally ran over that made it look like a damn Jackson Pollock painting in the back of my car. No, he did this. He took her life and he put her in the back of that mother-loving car. And then he did other things to her afterwards. But he had to hide her somewhere. Defense cross-examination. Burke pointed out investigators never chemically tested or swabbed the interior or exterior of the rear trunk. So they never chemically tested or swabbed interior or exterior of the rear trunk. Come on now. Come on now. Murillo testified that decision was based on her assessment at the time. Murillo agreed with Burke's statement that she could not determine when the reddish stains were left or who left them. What? You accidentally spilled a whole jar of beet juice in the back of the mother-loving car? I mean, come on now. Come on now. Come on. Oh, we you know what I mean? It's like the defense has the actual nerve to go up there and go, well, we understand that there's a lot of blood back there. Yeah. Are you sure? Did you run any tests to make sure that the blood was actually Celeste Rivas Hernandez? And it's like, she's like, no, we did not actually. Oh, that's a pity. What? 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 You really think, like, do you think that, was there a second body? Did he just happen to murder somebody else? And in both bodies, one was in the front of the front of the car, and the other one was in the back, just chilling? Oh, no. I'll just go with, yeah, he had a watermelon juice, and he just accidentally spilled it all over the place. That's what it was. It was beet juice, just all over the place in the back. It was just crazy. They went off-roading one day, and he was on a health kick. One of his friends had a whole jar of beet juice, and they were just drinking it for, to help with their blood pressure and whatnot. But for some weird reason, D4VD decided to just go off-roading one day, okay, whilst, Celeste dismantled body is in the front trunk of the car, and they just went crazy and off-roaded in a Tesla while this kid is in the back of the ride with a big old jar of beet juice. And that's exactly what happened here. That's what the red was, but we didn't bother to test it because, we knew it was beet juice. Shut up. But they're going to try to use that. You don't know if that was her blood or not. And it's like, well, could we run it back maybe? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is dumb. So she could not determine when the reddish stains were left or who left them. It is her, but okay. It is Celeste Rivas, but okay. Burke questioned whether some crime scene photos had been digitally enhanced. Murillo testified any enhanced images would be labeled and said enhancements are used only to improve visibility. So she's like, did you use AI in these videos, in these photos? Because I see that's very sharp. That's a very sharp photo. Did you use AI? Is this an AI photo? Stop. Burke also asked whether Blue Star detected blood in the front passenger area. Murillo testified that she could not confirm. Moving on. Redirect. Silverman confirmed any enhanced photographs were used solely to improve visibility and followed standard forensic protocol. So they're like, it ain't mother-loving AI. This is standard protocol. So we can see exactly what was in these photos. Stop with that mess, defense. Moving on. Murillo testified. The crime scene photos compiled with what most other criminal labs do for enhancing photographs if necessary. Good to know. Now, we got a brand new witness. Let's just talk about this really quick. Back seat of the car lit up like a damn Christmas tree when they were spraying basically an equivalent of luminol in the back seat of the car. There was red everywhere in the back seat, specifically in the back seat and in the trunk, like the boot of the car. Okay? So there's that. Okay? But then they're sitting there going, well, we didn't test everything. I don't blame them. But at the same time, it would have been nice for them to test everything. But they didn't. Okay? Maybe they can before this trial, because this trial's happening. There is no room for probable cause in this situation. There really isn't. Not with the timelines that we've learned and what we've actually witnessed, what they've captured. He's the last person to drive the car. There's CSAM. There's all kinds of content and correspondence between the two. Let's not forget, she was with child, how they were talking about schmortions and Plan B and all that too. So let's not forget all of that, okay? But moving on. New witness. LAPD criminalist Lauren Wallace, assigned to the Field Investigation Unit, testified she previously worked as a scientist at Biogen and has spent 9 years with LAPD, including processing roughly 400 crime scenes, many involving vehicles. Okay, good to know. Wallace testified she processed evidence collected during the search warrant at Burke's residence, the Hollywood Hills place, okay, searching the home for visible biological stains and other forensic evidence. Wallace confirmed the 2 chainsaws from the garage, a larger black and red chainsaw, and then a little dainty, smaller black handled chainsaw, okay? Wallace testified both tested negative during presumptive testing for the red, for the blood. A bizarre moment. At one point, a court tech wearing bright pink shoes approached the monitor to fix, and prosecutor Beth Silverman commented that his shoes matched the pink chainsaw on the screen. Awkward looks exchanged in the gallery. Interesting. Beth Silverman's like, oh my God, if that chainsaw was right next, was on you right now, it would so complete this whole outfit, girl. Interesting, right? That's weird. That is weird, but that could just be ADHD just firing off. But moving on. Wallace also testified investigators documented multiple linear cuts, approximately 7 in total, in rubber floor mats found in the garage. Interesting. So he took rubber floor mats, he put them on the garage floor. Then he took the kiddie pool, and he put the kiddie pool, I'm assuming, on top of those rubber floor mats. And as he's cutting deep, and he's piercing not only the kiddie pool, he's also piercing the rubber floor mats as well. Interesting. She said the cuts appeared consistent with the damage caused by a sharp object. So a chainsaw of some sort. Or maybe a machete. Or an axe. Maybe that's it too. You never know. Here's the other thing too. I want to make this abundantly clear. Can we go back to... Actually, we got to go... Before we go back to this, we got to go back to his purchase history. I want to point something out. Remember, shovel April 24th, May 1st, 7 days after he did what he did, and 7 days after he bought the shovel, okay? He bought 2 chainsaws, right? Blammo. 2 chainsaws under the name Travion, okay? Here's the other thing that's interesting. 3 whole days later, he buys a whole other machete, or a whole other chainsaw from Home Depot, identified through Uber and Postmates records, okay? Then he also bought a mop system, one of those bucket and spin mops, the one that you can press and it spins the mop, right? So he bought that too. That was purchased from Lowe's, identified through Uber Postmates. Here's the thing. Most importantly, I want us to focus on the Makita chainsaw that he bought. So he bought the cute little pink one. He bought the red and black one as well, a 16-inch chainsaw, by the way. And then he bought a Makita chainsaw. Have we heard anything about that chainsaw? I'm asking because I don't know if I haven't heard them talk about this third chainsaw. Where's this third chainsaw? Asking a legitimate question. Remember, we've only heard about 2 chainsaws that have not been touched. Basically, they were still probably wrapped up in their boxes and everything. They still ran them from tests, but everything came back negative. Where's the third? Where's the third chainsaw that he allegedly bought? We're missing one, guys. We're missing one. So, with that all being said, he probably used that chainsaw and then he got rid of it. Threw it away, threw it in the trash. I mean, he could have done a multitude of things. Because by the time her body was found in his car, several months later, all those things would have been long gone, guys. And also, if you really think about it, several months, by the way, several months he had to get rid of everything. Several months he had to clean things out, to clean things over and over and over again, so that those things would slowly but surely get washed away. You see what I'm saying? He had time on his hands. But he bought a whole other chainsaw that we never saw, that they never saw. So he probably threw it in the dumpster, and it's probably somewhere in a landfill somewhere, long gone, because no one was hip to the fact that this poor girl was missing, that this poor girl's life was taken. Unbelievable. Like I said, her body liquefied. Freaking liquefied, y'all. So I just want to point that out. So they talk about the 2 chainsaws, and it's like, well, there's no proof that he ever... And it's like, no, he bought a third one that no one saw. He bought a third one that we don't know where it is. Sure, he probably had help. But I'm telling you, it's unaccounted for. So where is it? Moving on. They testified about the rubber floor mats. Moving on, like I said. So in other words, he was cutting down, and he probably cut through, you know what I mean? He cut through deep enough to cut through the kiddie pool and the rubber mats. Photographs showing the cuts as well as several reddish stains on the floor mats. Wallace testified she performed presumptive testing on the reddish stains and collected samples from those that tested positive for possible blood. More photos shown to the court depicted similar reddish stains on a rowing machine located inside the garage. What are those reddish stains on the rowing machine? And no, it's not. No, it's not red paint. For damn show ain't beet juice. So what the heck is it, right? Additional exhibits shown of garbage bags filled with wipes covered in brown stains, the inflatable pool, which had a dryer sheet inside, and 2 green tarps with reddish stains. So there's the tarps I was talking about. Where were the tarps? What did he do to catch all the blood splatter, right, in the room? So he literally set some things up, and he had time. He had time to do these things, to come up with stuff and do what he needed to do. He worked pretty damn fast, I will tell you that. He was trying to work as fast as he could whilst on tour. You understand? Yeah, he had a rowing machine in there. You know for a fact he ain't using that rowing machine. He probably ain't even done a push-up in his damn life. But yeah, that's pretty insane, right? Pretty insane. All that information, all of it, out here for all of us to see now. In fact, if this is the real deal, this is from FloJo, but they have photos. allegedly, they're saying that this is what Flojo said. Okay, David's camera roll had the same "Love Is in the Air" freshener. Look at that, "Love Is in the Air" freshener. So he clearly had these in there, and this girl is rotting in his front trunk of his car, and he's still like taking photos and putting it up as content for his social media. That's insane. Video on X showing David Burke sitting outside a building, self-filming cars at the detailer, getting the smoothie out. Getting that smoothie out. See what I'm saying? So he probably was like, yeah, I got a whole thing with beet juice that spilled all over the back of my ride. You know, this stuff is good for your heart. You know what I'm saying? For your blood pressure and whatnot. Look at this. This is crazy.
Cars at the detailer getting that smoothie out. I got bit by a mosquito. My announcement is delayed. I gotta get an Uber. Half my shoes are dirty. But I'm alive.
Yikes. Yikes, y'all. Yikes. Yeah. It's crazy because if you pull up Dookie face, Dookie head, doo-doo face, D4VD, this actual photo pops up. That actual photo. That's still right there. That's Dookie face. That's Dookie face. Dookie face, doo-doo head, D4VD. Yeah. So spilled a smoothie all the way in the back of his ride, and he's getting his car detailed because of that. And then he says, but I'm alive. Exactly, JLK. But I'm alive. Bit by a mosquito. Why? Because you were outside in the garage cutting her up, and a little mosquito came over and bit you on your arm whilst you were dismantling this young girl? Dookie face, doo-doo head, D4VD. Yeah. I don't care. I don't need to be respectful of this man. Yeah, that's the Dookie face. You know what I mean? That's Dookie face. Yeah. Hold on. I'm parched. Think about that for a second. Dookie face, doo-doo head. Right there. In all of his glory. Scary, right? Scary. So those people who were cleaning out and detailing his car didn't realize that they were actually cleaning out Celeste. You understand that? Trash. So yeah, he was taking his car. Love is in her. Yes, sir. The man is trash. The man is absolute duty. 1 second. Hold on. Oh. Yeah, some more photos from his iPhone or his, from his stuff. Yeah. Zestfully clean. You're not fully clean unless you're zestfully clean. Zestfully clean. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just makes you want to modulate the key and everything. Zestfully clean. He's out here. He out here. He don't know how to play that guitar. Stop, man. Don't front. I love music. You know what I mean? Stop. Oh my God. Stop. 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 My last photo done before my album drops. That's crazy. Zestfully clean. You know? What's this? This kid's album is finally out, and I can't even believe it. Welcome to Withered. Yeah. Happy D4VD, beautiful D4VD, disgusted D4VD, temper tantrum D4VD, sassy auntie D4VD, and cute D4VD. What? Smile if you're Oni. That's what he's wearing. Tour starts today, baby. I'm getting, he's going to get in his birthday suit on the stage. Gotta love that. Yeah. Like I said, if no disrespect, if you like his music, by all means, love his music. But I'm telling you, there is no talent in this music. It's trash. I'm sorry. Obviously, I'm biased because he's a murderous monster. Okay, he did this. All right, he took that beautiful little girl's life. I don't have any like. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's like not Nelly. What am I saying? It's not like R. Kelly. You know what I mean? Where you're like, well, you know what I mean? Like, yo, he did like urinate, do his thing. You know, he did have water sports. It was all caught on video. But then you hear "Step in the Name of Love," and you're like, I can't stop moving. You know what I mean? And you're trying to stop it, but you're like, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? It's a bop. He doesn't have talent. Okay, you know there's that one R. Kelly, I believe I can fly. You know what I mean? You're like, you're already thinking, you're still thinking in your head the water sports, but you're still going, damn, this song still gets me. You know what I mean? He doesn't have talent. D4VD don't have talent. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, same thing with Diddy. I'm sorry. No. Oh, come on. You know, you hear past the Cavassier, you're like, oh, come on. You know what I'm saying? You can't help but like, oh, it's a bop, though. It's a bop. Oh, you know what I mean? Baby oil. Oh, you know what I mean? You know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay? You're trying to work and listen to me. That's why I'm here, to keep you entertained. You know what I'm saying? D4VD ain't that. I don't care. I don't care. I don't like who's ever gonna. No one's gonna play his music in the clubs ever again. There will never be a legacy of him except for what he did to this girl and the fact that he might be singing Mr. Sparky. Give him a dream, bum, 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 bum. That's it. That's all we're going to know him for. We're not going to know him for his music. We're going to know him for what he did to this little girl. That's it. You know what I'm saying? But let's get over to Lauren Conlon. Hit the like button down. Hold on. Before we go over there, hold on. Hit that like button down below. Crush it. Hit that like button down below. I see all y'all in here. Okay? Hit the like button down below. Okay? It's a bop. But seriously, hit that like button down below. Please and thank you. All right? Don't forget to subscribe. Your boy's working hard out here in these streets to give you the information and the entertainment that you need for your day. Okay? And we are talking about some really dark stuff. I almost cursed right there. We're talking about some bad, crazy stuff. So we kind of have to approach it with a little bit of lightness, okay? Or we all just gonna walk off a cliff. So again, mentally, don't do that. Just talking about mentally. But nonetheless, let's get over to Lauren Conlon. This is her on part 2, okay? So let's take a look at this.
All right, it's day 2 of David's preliminary hearings. Very dark, not quite as dark as yesterday, but when David entered the courtroom, again, shackled and cuffed, he was uncuffed, and he was shackled at the waist still. His lawyer, Blair Burke, she did the thing where she kind of rubs his back and whispered to him, and it really does give me vibes of like Leslie Abramson with the Menendez brothers. Brian Enton pointed out that Ann Taylor also did this with
Sorry, wrong one. Wrong one. I just realized I have the wrong one. Hold on. She didn't. Okay, hold on. Because she did another one. There it is. Day 2. Hold on. And we're going to skip over.
All right, we just wrapped day 2 of the David preliminary hearing, so I'm going to kind of do what I did on day 1, where I talked to you guys for a minute. I'm just going to play my video from this morning after that, and then I will play my my recap from the afternoon after that. But overall, today was definitely not as gruesome at all as day 1. It was heavily focused on forensics. We heard from 2 criminologists. We heard the rest of the finance director at Mogulvision, his testimony, and there's some interesting things about that. And there is a new name that you should all pay attention to, because I think we're going to be hearing about this name a lot. He is a security guard or bodyguard that apparently lived with David for 6 months, who allegedly knew about what was going on between he and Celeste. And then in the second half of my updates, I do talk about some very, very awkward moments in court. Very awkward moments. The defense attorney, Blair Burke, and the prosecutor, Beth Silverman, I mean, they just hate each other. It's just very awkward, some of these exchanges to watch them. But anyway, here are my updates. I did these updates earlier, again, right when court adjourned for lunch, and then right when it adjourned for the day. So hopefully you find them helpful, and don't forget to go to lamag.com for my articles as well. That love is in the air, but I will have more later. All right, I decided to record the second half of day 2 of David's preliminary hearing right outside the courthouse. If you missed the first half or the morning portion of my recap, just head to the playlist on YouTube, David and Celeste. You can catch up there. But the afternoon was very much focused on forensics, but there were a couple just awkward moments that I just kind of want to touch upon before I get into the forensics. So before the proceedings started in the afternoon, Celeste Rivas Hernandez family attorney Patrick Steinfeld kind of went up before the judge because she said, you know, the Rivas family attorney wants to put this on record here, that basically he was told that he could not use a laptop in court, and the judge kind of felt like he didn't handle it well with the court officers, and she kind of said, you know, I have rules, these are my rules, but these are also just, you know, general rules where the media can have their laptops in the last 2 rows, but there is no transmission, there is no emailing, there is no texting, and you will be kicked out if this happens. So she kind of had him, you know, in front, and she's just like, I just advise you next time to be a little bit more courteous to the court staff. So that was something. And then after that, the defense, Blair Burke, said, you know, Your Honor, I just want to put something on the record here that she said, I just want to put on the record here that this presentation that we are seeing with the prosecution and their current witness, this is the first I've seen it. This is the first I've heard of it. So, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then Beth Silverman says, nope, that is false. You know, you saw this weeks ago, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it was just a whole thing. So that was kind of awkward. And then just skipping ahead to right after the afternoon break, just to sort of tie some of these awkward moments together. Right after the afternoon break, Beth Silverman says, I want to put something on the record. And she says, I tried to take photographs of some of the defense evidence, and I was not allowed to. She goes into this whole thing. And then Blair Burke says, yeah, you had told us, and she's saying this to the judge, you had told us we had to redact certain portions of the evidence. And I think she was referring to Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Her passport was shown on the screen. There was some identifying information that she wanted to redact, and so she goes into this, and then Beth Silverman is like, that is false. I mean, it was just very argumentative. She's like, that is false. That didn't happen. This is what happened. And the judge was like, look, I think you guys are coming off a trial, and there might be some lingering tensions here. So she's like, I would just advise you to, figure those out, take that up on your own. And it was just, again, a very awkward moment. And then the last awkward moment was there was a little issue with the screen, and a tech came in, and there was, I guess, the chainsaws on the screen, the red and white chainsaw and the pink chainsaw, and I guess the tech had pink shoes on, and Beth Silverman's like, oh, your pink shoes match the pink chainsaw. A bunch of us were like, oh, okay, that's interesting. But enough about that. Okay, let's get into what happened in the afternoon. So we heard from two criminologists. One criminologist, let me get her name. Her name was Chelsea Murillo, and she was on the stand really talking about her investigation and her testing when it came to David's Tesla. So she just basically, I mean, again, this was pretty standard. She walked the court through certain photographs of the Tesla. She testified about finding the air fresheners I mentioned in the rear door pockets and in the console, and then in the frunk. And when we saw the photos in the frunk, they were just covered with insects and maggots and liquid, and it was just very gross. And I had mentioned on a prior video that the air freshener, one said love is in the air, and that kind of made me just gave me chills for a minute. So yeah, there was a lot of just photographs of these close-up, just dense maggots and whatnot inside of the trunk. So she also explained that investigators tested portions of the vehicle using I'm going to say this wrong, phenolphthalein. I'm going to call it pheno from now on. And so
yeah, I didn't know how to pronounce it, so it's all good.
She said that she also applied Blue Star, which is a chemical enhancement used, like luminol, used to detect traces of blood. So it's just important to note that they, like the criminologist, could not conclusively say this is blood. It's a presumptive positive is what it's called. So, and they called them reddish stains as well. So she identified several reddish stains in the, quote, rear cargo of the trunk, and obviously as well as the frunk. And then there were also some reddish stains in the third row of the Tesla, where Beth Silverman kind of said, so is it possible that, the victim could have been placed in the third row at a certain point? There was an objection. They said it was leading, and then she rephrased it. But yes, that was possible. So she also testified that a USB flash drive or memory stick was also recovered from the glove department or compartment, but we don't know the contents of that. On cross-examination, Blair Burke kind of focused on just the handling and processing of the vehicle. She testified, or Murillo testified, the front trunk was closed when she began the examination. She said, yes, we wore gloves. Burke brought up some kind of handwritten correction on the forensic request form, but Murillo was like, I don't know when that was made. It doesn't really apply to me. Murillo confirmed that she did not perform pheno testing on the vehicle's exterior at all, but she explained that she did swab portions of the front of the Tesla for potential touch DNA after she saw disturbances in the dust that was kind of covering the Tesla, because there was dust everywhere. Burke also got her to say that they did not test the interior or the exterior of the trunk. Basically, she just said those were not chemically tested. And then she also made it clear that the reddish stains that are identified, they produce only, like I said, presumptive positive results. Let me see what else. So one thing I quoted, she said, so you can't determine.
Wait, hold on. So that, in other words, the stuff that they were spraying only produces red, only produces blood. Okay. So again, she's sitting there going like, all right, sure, we didn't test it for, to make sure it was actually her blood, but it is blood. So, and her body was found in the front trunk of the car. So I think that's one of the reasons why they didn't do that. And I do think that that's not the smartest thing. They should have just ran the test no matter what, because of course his defense can sit there and go, well, just because her body was found in the front trunk of the car doesn't mean that it's her blood in the back seat of the car. And it's like, bruh, it is. But at the same time, they could use that to argue, but that's not going to help. Her body was found in the car. You know what I memean? But moving on.
Determine when the reddish stains were placed there or who placed the stains there. And Murillo said, no, I could not. Let's see. Oh, there was also the question of Photoshop. So some of these images, she said,
yeah, is this stuff AI? Like, come on.
Did you guys use Photoshop to enhance these? That was the whole thing. And she said, well, I don't know which ones were, quote, enhanced, but, none of them were altered to the point of, that it would be an issue. And I'm paraphrasing. And later during the redirect, it was confirmed that most national crime labs do these type of enhancements to try to show where the blood stains were, and that this is pretty typical. And then the last witness of the day was Lauren Wallace. Lauren Wallace, she was an LAPD criminalist assigned to the Field Investigation Unit, and she tested items that were found inside of David's home during the September 17th search warrant. So some new items, I mean, we heard about, most of them with the inflatable pool. They found a dryer sheet in the inflatable pool. During cross-examination, Blair Burke's like, so you didn't take the dryer sheet in, you didn't test it? And she said no. But she talked about finding the several linear cuts in the inflatable pool. There were 2 tarps that I hadn't heard of or seen before, several garbage bags, some with white cloths with reddish stains on them as well. Let's see, a Tesla charging table that had reddish stains on it, and a rubber floor. There were rubber floor mats near a rowing machine. Both had reddish stains on it. And underneath the floor mat, there seemed to be possible seepage of blood as well on this brick floor. So that was pretty much it, I guess, overall. For the afternoon, I was told by Detective Byers today, I cornered him after, that we should be hearing from the medical examiner tomorrow.
And that's going to be a big deal. Tomorrow, I mean, there's speculation medical examiner is going to be in, or today, I'm sorry. There's speculation, because this is from yesterday. There's speculation that medical examiner will be in the house talking about, findings on Celeste and then some. So that one is going to be, it's going to be a tough one to hear all of that. Okay. It's definitely going to be really, really tough. But we're here for it. That's for sure. We got some updates here though, real quick. This is from a tweet from Mark the Shark. And I didn't know, I wasn't following him, but I'm following him back now. There is an update. He says, as of 12:33 p.m., so just about an hour ago, he says pool fragments being compared like pieces, puzzle pieces from medical examiner's office, matching the pool found in David Burke's home. Okay, so that's something that's going on right now as well. But let's take a look. We got a few other things here real quick. Give me a second. Got another one. Prosecutors presented additional testimony during the preliminary hearing for D4VD. All right, saying the evidence links to the artist for taking the life of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Let's take a look at this video.
Yeah, the preliminary hearing for day 3 getting started in just the next couple of minutes. But yesterday, we heard the first few pieces of forensic evidence presented by prosecutors. And for the second straight day in a row, we noticed singer David Anthony Burke sitting emotionless without any reaction to any of the evidence. His demeanor shocking some of the members of the public inside.
It kind of looks like he's staring down the judge and the TV after a while, or maybe he's just disassociating and stuck in his thoughts. I don't know, but it's kind of like he just sits there and just stares to his right constantly. It just feels like really upsetting because it's like I was singing those songs, listening, playing over. In 2023, his music was really popping off. He was getting millions and millions of views. That's when he got discovered actually by like all of his fans. So like just sitting there in the courtroom, seeing him in person for the first time, and then seeing Celeste's parents and how much Celeste looked like them.
Inside court yesterday, scientists who work at the LAPD crime lab testifying about their techniques they used to search for blood, both in the Tesla, where Celeste Rivas Hernandez's body was found, and also inside the Hollywood Hills home, where detectives believe Celeste was murdered.
Yeah. I mean, I feel bad for fans. One, because why were you listening to that awful, awful music? But also, I'm kidding. Music, the love of music's within the ear of the beholder. But at the same time, I feel bad for, listeners, people who are supporting him and, thinking that this guy is like a good guy, right? Only to find out that he's a monster now. And I'm sure a lot of people have thrown away everything that he's done, or they're archiving it for that day where, 20 years from now, they'll be like, it's been 20 years since, you know what I mean? I'm waiting for that, and then there'll be a new Nancy Grace, I'm sure, 20 years from now. And it'll be like, 20 years later, you know what I mean? Celeste Rivas Hernandez, like she the GOAT, she the queen of true crime. But, 20 years from now, there'll be another one, right? Just saying. Yeah, what he did is just I can't even fathom the things that he's done to this little girl. But there's more. Like I said, we are playing catch up for now, at least. So, that was not the plan. Let's get that out of here. And let's look at, this is Celeste Rivas's family's lawyer. So let's take a look at this.
Family. So I'd like to just give you a brief rundown on how things went today. Yesterday was a very difficult day for Celeste's parents. There was a lot of gruesome testimony that was provided, as well as a lot of disgusting images that we saw. Today was a much better day, and I know that a lot of you are concerned about how the family feels, and today was a much better day for them. We heard about blood. We heard in the morning from the Vice President of Finance at Interscope Records, who gave a summary of the earnings that David made over the last few years. And, he was an up-and-coming rising star, but once you started hearing the numbers, it was rather stunning, the amount of money that he was earning and his earning capacity. He had guarantees of a minimum of $3 million and a maximum guarantee of $6 million with bonuses that increase. And so the numbers just went up and up and up. And eventually he was looking at potential guaranteed payments of $19 million per year for his albums. Unfortunately for him, the contract with Interscope Records was terminated and canceled, and so therefore he wasn't able to be paid out on that income. After the morning appearance, we heard from a CHP officer who was the one that responded to a call from a Caltrans worker who found Celeste's passport on Highway 152 in Santa Barbara. the CHP officer had photographs of Celeste's passport.
Just about an hour ago, SF Investigates got kicked out, was asked to leave the courtroom. Just so you know, this is also from Mark the Shark. SF Investigates asked to leave the courtroom. Witness exclusion order in D4VD's preliminary hearing. That's very interesting. Interesting. This is about an hour ago. Like I said, an hour ago, SF Investigates was asked to leave the courtroom. Witness exclusion order. So I just wanted to let you guys know that too. I just saw that. I wanted to say before I forgot it. Damn. Witness exclusion? What? Yeah. Then somebody else was asked to leave the courtroom an hour ago for violating court rules of no live feeding. I don't know who JW is, but this is all from Mark the Shark. I'm dead ass. He says JW, whoever that may be. JW, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know who JW is. JW asked to leave courtroom for violating court rules of no live feeding. And of course, in this preliminary hearing. And then SF Investigates was asked to leave too, and I'm wondering why. Witness exclusion. Hold on. I'm trying to find that. Because I just saw it and it just disappeared on me. Where the heck did it go? Hold on. That is very strange. Yeah, I mean, literally, Mark the Shark just said SF Investigates was asked to leave due to witness exclusion. And then now I can't find it anymore. Unless he deleted it. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was a typo. Yeah, I swear to God, that's what I saw. Maybe it was a mistake. But that's weird. It was here and now it's gone on his account. I'm not kidding. Why would I? You know what I mean? Not making this up for the sake of making anything up. That was just weird. Okay. Wild. Somebody else was. Yeah. Somebody else got kicked out. I don't know who JW is, but JW got kicked out for. Yeah, was got kicked out of the courtroom for violating court rules of no live feeding. So somebody was in there trying to live feed the actual preliminary hearing. See, this is the reason why people are dumb. People are dumb. I don't know who JW is, but you know, if that's true, people need to stop doing those kind of things. This is the reason why they did such a difficult way that they did. You know what I mean? But let me see. SF could be a message to say SF could be another witness or a witness because he was in the home and did a side investigation. Yeah, PIs. PIs are sometimes called to testify. Maybe, but it's weird because wouldn't he know that before even walking into this preliminary hearing? You know what I mean? So I don't know who JW is. I'll show you guys this proof positive here. I just want to play this little press briefing here, but that's just weird that somebody out here was trying to live feed this this situation, this preliminary hearing. That's just dumb.
As well as the exact location that the passport was located at. The defense attorney cross-examined the CHP officer, but the cross-examination was wholly ineffective. Then a criminologist took the stand and testified that blood stains were found on the lower compartment trunk of David's Tesla, and that they tested positive for Celeste's DNA. They also said that there were cuts on a floor mat in the garage, and that there were red stains on the floor mat and under the floor mat, as well as on a rowing machine, on the Tesla charging cable, on a trash bag, on a green tarp, and on the blue inflatable pool that we've all heard about. And there were cuts on the pool that appeared to be made by a sharp object. Tomorrow, the medical examiner will be taking stand, so we expect to hear more evidence from the medical examiner.
Thank you. Sir, what was Mercedes' reactions to seeing the photos of those maggots and insects in the Tesla?
It was, it's very disheartening for the family. They are very private individuals, and they're doing the best that they can to show their support and love for Celeste by appearing at these proceedings, and they'll continue to appear at these proceedings as they go on. But they did tell me that they are really pleased with the job that Beth Silverman is doing for the district attorney's office, and the evidence that they are putting in before the court, because at this point the defense attorneys really haven't been able to poke a hole in any of the prosecution's evidence that they put into place. So they're doing the best they can, but it's hard for them.
Is that why the family left for the rest of the day, sir?
Yes, it is. They are driving in from Lake Elsinore, and they had problems getting to court on time today, so they just wanted to go home. They didn't sleep well last night, and so they wanted to beat the traffic, get home early so they can be here tomorrow morning. They're going to skip the first part of tomorrow's hearing, which starts at 9:15, and they'll be here at 10:30 tomorrow.
We saw the photo of Celeste when she was 11 years old and her passport photo ID. Can you talk about Celeste?
Hold on real quick. I couldn't agree more, Quantum. Seriously, what at this point, how much evidence do we really need? I mean, shoot, they already have enough. That's for damn sure. They already have enough, y'all. That is for damn sure.
From the parents' perspective, what she was like and why they're here to get justice for her.
Celeste was a beautiful 14-year-old girl. She was full of life and energy, and she brought a lot of love and joy into the family home. And they have a hole in their heart that'll never be replaced, because Celeste's life was ripped away allegedly by David Anthony Burke, and the family knows that their life has forever been changed.
Yeah. We're going to find out more info here shortly, I would hope. But let me show you what I'm talking about. Literally, it was just up, and then suddenly now it's gone. But you can see Mark the Shark just said JW, and he said earlier somebody else, SF Investigates. I swear to God, it was up, and now it's gone, which is very, very weird. Okay. But that's interesting. He's also live tweeting, or not live tweeting, but he's putting out tweets. So they must be at a lunch break. I'm assuming that they're going into lunch break right now. But he says tons of cell phone Tesla data. So they're going through that too, right? But again, JW asked to leave courtroom for violating court rules of no live feeding in this preliminary hearing. Okay, fragments of being pool fragments are being compared like puzzle pieces from medical examiner's office, matching the pool found in D4VD's home. Okay, so we have that as well. Again, like this is very wild, but I'm gonna see if he is live right now, because he could be. Yep.
Just looking at my notes. Hold on a second.
Let's take a look at Marcus Sharp. It looks like he just came out. Take a look. Hit the like button down below, please, and thank you.
How's everybody doing? Yeah, a lot of drama going on. A lot of drama.
Yeah, what drama?
SF was asked to leave. There was another.
There it is.
Lady that was asked to leave.
SF Investigates was asked to leave. That's very shocking. And I was looking to see if he put up a tweet or anything. SF Investigates, and he hasn't. And I'm wondering, is it because he has something to do with this investigation, or with this? They're going to be calling him in as a potential witness for this preliminary hearing, or not? You know what I mean? But I feel like we would have heard something by now, right?
Is there a press conference? There might be a press conference. Hold on. But there were some people that were asked to leave. They were live transmitting.
It's crazy.
They were live transmitting.
People are crazy.
Inside the courtroom, so they were asked to leave. They were. Well, she was saying it was, I think, I interviewed her earlier.
Hold on, real quick. We do have a word from SF Investigates. He did get interviewed by Taylor Parise. So we're going to look at that here in just a little bit.
She was doing the Dropbox notes, but that was connected to the internet, which somebody else was picking those notes up live in real time, and they were going live with that information. That's a big no-no. Judge's order, Supreme voice to text. So Dropbox there, then it was live. So big no-no, not supposed to do that. Then SF Investigates was asked to leave too, because he's the witness from the secret grand jury. So he was asked to leave, and he was like, well, the argument was like, what? From Beth Silverman, the argument was like, look, SF Investigates coming up to the family lawyer and asking them questions about the family, but it was the other way around. And so SF Investigates, he's like, well, just to clear the on the record, I want to say that the lawyer approached me, the civil lawyer approached me. I didn't approach them. So the conversation only lasted about 15 seconds, and that was it. That was the extent of it. How's the family doing? That was it. I mean, brief 15 seconds. So they got into it with the judge, and the judge was saying, okay, well, there's like witness exclusionary. You can't be in here. You got to go. I'm sorry. We got to ask you to leave. So he left. And yeah, they're coming down on pretty much being live. They're pretty much cracking down on that. Well, you're not supposed to anyway, but
yeah, no kidding. You're not supposed to be live in the first
then
place,
Beth Silverman got into a little back and forth with the civil attorney, and she's like, try me. Yeah, I'm gonna pull your badge, so if you keep trying me. So I don't know what's that about. But then the judge later on said, okay, look, anything that happens in the courtroom, it's has to be It has to be in the court, in the record. You know, whatever happens in the courtroom needs to be addressed with the judge, with the courtroom. So.
Like, is anything going on? Have they used it?
Oh, also, but yeah, there's a lot of drama going on, and what else is there? Oh, also, there was also you know, the girl that was the lady that was I was interviewing earlier. She was Beth was making comments that somebody was being disrespectful, and they're allegedly it was her. And Beth Silverman was saying that she didn't like the interaction, and the comments said inside of the in the courtroom, and she wanted to put that on the record. So that was that was interesting. So. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'll see if I can get an interview with her.
In my live notes.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's not the record. And then it was like, oh, by the way, we're going to take a witness off the list. And I was like, oh, secondary.
Yeah, secondary. Yeah, it was like back to back to back.
That first.
Yeah, and so.
You know what it was about? It was about the tech guys' pink tennis shoes matching the chainsaw.
Matching the chainsaw. Matching the chainsaw. So somebody didn't like that comment. The pink shoes from the tech guy did not like that.
His name is Francisco.
Francisco, nice guy. Somebody did not like the comment that Beth Silverman made, that it looks like a one of the chainsaws. So this young lady was saying that's not funny, and then she said it twice. That is not funny. She said it loud enough to Beth Silverman hear it, and to bring that up today in court, saying that those were disrespectful comments. But I'm gonna see if I can interview her later. She's being interviewed right now, so we'll get her statement. We'll get her side of the story. And you heard what Beth Silverman was saying. So, man, it was the pizza roll. Yeah, the pizza roll girl. Yeah, that's that's the one. The pizza roll girl. That's the one. Is the one allegedly making disrespectful comments per Beth Silverman. Beth Silverman's doing great inside the courtroom. The defense is. They're doing okay. They're doing all right, but pizza rolls, yeah, pizza roll, girl, pizza rolls.
Setting spray, okay.
So,
but you're using powder before the setting spray, right?
I do setting spray in layers, and I do liquid foundation. Very light.
My daughter keeps saying, "Mommy, need a bit of
powder." We do. Just to sum up.
Yeah, the drawings girl, yeah.
You haven't seen me without makeup.
But I got a lot of wisdom that came with it. But you can't write about it. The Canadian media says it's a Pulitzer Prize story. They can't write. Three foreign countries have covered it up. I'm done. I need out of here. I need a medical rebound. I'm done. It's Magnitsky. It's Magnitsky style in the same country.
What is David's vibe expression today? Same thing. Pretty nonchalant, matter of fact. Business as usual. He looks like he's ready to. He just looks like he's ready to go home. To be honest, in my opinion, he doesn't look worried. He doesn't look stressed out. Well, he was asked to leave, not told, but he was asked to leave. SF Investigate was asked to leave because he's a witness. So they have an exclusion order for witnesses not to be present inside of the courtroom, except for David's family, which was interesting because the judge was saying David's family and Celeste Rivas' family. So I don't know if David's family is here. I didn't see any that I recognize, but there does seem to be some facial expressions from some people that don't agree with some of the comments that are being made by the prosecution. That's just my opinion, my insight of what I saw. But again, I am not sure if there is any family from David or friends that are supporting him inside of the courtroom today. Okay. I did not see the dad. I did not see the mom for David Anthony Burke.
I was hoping he was going to give some updates. We're gonna get straight to the meat and potatoes here, and we may come back to Mark the Shark because he's been doing really good coverage, but he's not rushing off to go get food, and he's not rushing off because he's like, oh, we only have a short break or anything. So I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm like, give us the info. But I get it. He's got, he's relaxing. He's doing his thing. I'm going to let him do his thing. And then we'll probably scrub through and see if there's any updates from him in a little bit. Okay. I'll let him cook, but we do have some, but more importantly, we do have some updates from Lauren Conlon. Like I said, Lauren Conlon's coming in with the heat. I don't know how she types this damn fast. She types so damn fast. It's incredible. I'm like, are you using AI? Because how are you getting this out so damn fast? Man, some people just know how to type so damn fast. It's amazing. But let's get into this, okay? And of course, shout out to Lauren Conlon. She's been doing some really great work over there. So the preliminary hearing, day 3. This is the first half, I guess. I'm assuming they're at lunch during lunch break right now because it is noon over there, noon Pacific Standard Time. So they should be having lunch right now, their lunch break. So Detective William Roker, his cell phone. I guess Detective Roker's cell phone and Tesla analysis. All right. I tried to put this together as best as I could. Hard to follow at times. So Burke's trips back and forth to Santa Barbara, April 23rd, May 8th, and May 31st. So, yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so April 23rd to 24th, 2025 at 11:01 to 11:11 p.m., D4VD's cell phone and Tesla were both located at his Hollywood home, okay? Hollywood Hills home. Cell phone tower placed both at home. So he didn't move anywhere at that time, right? In fact, remember, he still had a shovel being delivered to his crib. Let's not forget that as well. So 11:31 to 11:35 p.m., Burke's cell phone began moving away from the residence. All right. Data suggests the phone and Tesla were traveling westbound, possibly at on Sunset Boulevard. 2:04 a.m., his phone is placed on an outgoing call to Celeste Rivas because he's probably going, where are you? I don't know where you are. You know what I mean? That's kind of the thing he was trying to do. The call went directly to voicemail. Roker testified this could mean her phone was off, in airplane mode or outside network coverage. In other words, he turned off the damn phone. That's basically it. All right. 1:28 a.m. Cell phone tower records placed D4VD's phone near State Route 154, San Macros Pass in Santa Barbara County. Okay. Tesla data also showed the vehicle in the same general area. Around 4:03 to 7:07 a.m., the phone remained connected to northern cell towers before returning south. By 7:07 a.m., both the phone and Tesla have returned towards the Hollywood Hills home that he was staying in, and the same place that Celeste lost her life. I want to point something out here. He was out there for 3 hours. My theory might be right. And it's just a theory, but my theory might be right. Why was he out there for 3 hours? What was he doing? Like I said, I think he had the shovel. He got the shovel, and then he went out there. 11:01 p.m. Between 11:01 p.m. and 11:11 p.m., his phone and his car were located at the residence at the Hollywood Hill. All right. Cell phone tower placed both at home. So he was there. So half hour later, 11:31, 11:35 p.m., okay, his phone began moving away from the residence. All right. Data suggests the Tesla and the phone were traveling westbound, possibly to Sunset Boulevard. Maybe to gather a few belongings, maybe to gather a few items so he can do what he was doing. Okay. Quantum, thank you so much. Funny thing is, not funny. He didn't know where she was. How did he end up in his car? Case closed. Yep. MPD psychotic. Yeah. I mean, come on now. I didn't know where she was. Where are you? Boo-boo, where are you? Celeste, where could you be? Right? And then she shows up in his car in pieces? Weird, right? You know? Roni, yes, I will be covering the Nolan Wells case. I will probably be doing a late, not a late, but a evening show this evening, reacting to Brandon Tatum's interview that he had with one of Nolan Wells' self-described best friends, Warren Hudson, tonight, just so you guys know. So I will be doing that tonight. When? Probably around 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, just so you know. About 8 p.m. It may be a little bit earlier, but we'll see, okay? Because I got some things to do this after we get done with our live here, okay? So let's continue, okay? Let us continue. So again, him and his car were moving away. The cell phone and his car were moving westbound, okay? Traveling possibly on Sunset Boulevard. That was 30 minutes, okay, after everything. 30 minutes when he was in his home. He left 30 minutes later, and then around 30 minutes again, his phone, he placed a phone call, okay, an outgoing phone call to Celeste, okay? Oh, where could my Celeste be? Oh, where could she be? So he's calling her up, right? When we already know where she is. And we already know where the phone is. It's in his pocket. Off. That phone call went straight to voicemail. Then this detective said that this could mean that the phone was off or in airplane mode or nowhere near a network, which is very rare. They're in LA. Moving on. So, whole hour and a half later, cell tower records placed his phone near State Route 154, San Macros Pass in Santa Barbara County. All right? Tesla data also showed that vehicle in the same general area, so he was traveling with his car. All right? We also saw a map placing the phone and Tesla near a remote area off of SR 154, where investigators later recovered evidence. So, let me just make this abundantly clear. 4:03 to 7:07 a.m. Wait, how did I skip that? My bad. So Tesla was seen in the same general area, so he's moving it all together, okay? So around 4:03 a.m. to 7:07 a.m., 3 whole hours, okay, the phone remained in the same area, did not move to the northern cell towers, it was connected to the northern cell towers, okay, before returning south at 7:07. At 7:07, both phone and Tesla returned to that residence. So the only thing I could think of is that he was up there. He maybe tried to bury her, or maybe was thinking about burying her and putting her body out there. Maybe he went up there to think as well, to kind of decompress and try to get his bearings again. And he's maybe freaking out, not knowing what he's going to do. But he also has the shovel. I'm assuming he has the shovel at this time. All right. And then something happens. He either realizes, can't bury her. I can't bury her like this. I can't get rid of her body like this. I got to go back home. I got to figure this out. So then, after 3 hours of freaking out, because why would you be out there for 3 hours? Think about that for a second. Can we just talk about that? Why would you be standing out there on the side of the road, probably in some wooded area? Why would you be sitting out there for 3 hours by yourself? Hold on. Somebody said no. Hold on. Remember, that's a good point. So, yeah, you're right. He didn't have, my bad. He probably did not have the shovel just yet. He probably did not. But he still drove out there. I still think that her body was in the car with him. And he drove out there with her. What was he going to do with her body? I don't know. But he didn't purchase the shovel until the 24th of April. She lost her life April 23rd, the night of April 23rd. See what I'm saying? So April 23rd, 11:01 p.m., that's after she lost her life. He drove out and did all this stuff, and then he didn't come back to the house, okay, until 7:07 a.m. So maybe he purchased the shovel in plans on doing the digging and then changed his mind. But maybe he went out there to do some recon work to see where he could put her body. You see what I'm saying? He's like, okay, let me put her body over here. No, they're going to find it. Maybe I can put her body over there. Yeah, I'll put her body right there. And so he maybe scouted out an area, found it, and he's like, that's exactly where I'm going to put her. Then he went back home. And then he went to work. He bought the shovel and everything. Because let's not forget, let me just pull this up for proof, just for proof positive. Just so we could see the purchase history one more time. Where the heck is it? Nope. Where the heck is it? This is when I wish I had just had all, like, I you know, you want to keep all these windows open, but then they always disappear. Definitely not that. Oh. No, that's just right now. Golly. I hate when this happens. There it is. Okay. So I just want to remind you, okay? April 24th is when he bought the shovel. So, okay, my theory could be a little off. But he definitely put her in that car. And I definitely think that he traveled with her to Santa Barbara. He had to put the body somewhere. The body couldn't just sit in the living room chilling. What if his assistant came back home? What if anybody came back to that house? My theory is that he put her in the back trunk of the car and then he drove. And he's sitting there trying to figure it all out because she's in the back, dead, covered probably with something. And he's driving up the highway being like, I'm going to discard her body in the middle of the woods. And maybe as he's out there, he's like, man, I can't dig with my hands. These dainty ass hands. I can't go and dig with these dainty ass hands. Right? It's going to mess up my manicure. Right? So he's like, nah, I need to find the place. And then I'm going to figure out. So he went home. And then that day, April 24th, so he didn't sleep much. He ordered that shovel because he had plans on taking her out and burying her. So let's get to that, right? So he goes out there. He's out there for 3 whole hours, a few minutes short of 3 hours, all by his lonesome, with her belongings. He's probably already discarded things on the side of the highway as he's driving, right? He goes out there to, I guess, think and collect himself while she's unalived in the back of his car, covered up with some sort of sheet or something, okay? And then he comes to the conclusion that, okay, I got to pack up. I got to figure something out. And okay, I'm going to bury her, but I don't have a shovel. So then he goes back, all right? He returns home by 7:07 because he was out there for a minute. That's 3, he was out there at least for 2 hours. And then he drives back home, okay? We also saw a map placed in the phone and Tesla near a remote area off of SR 54, where investigators later recovered evidence. So he drove off to the side. He threw out all of her belongings, her ID, whatever, right? May 8th through 9th, 2025, 8 p.m. This is several days later. Let's not forget, he had already purchased between that time the shovel, the 2 chainsaws, the red one and the pink little black, the little cute little pink black one, right? He had already bought an inflatable pool. He had already bought a massive chainsaw, like a real deal Holyfield industrial strength type of chainsaw. He had already gotten the cadaver bag. He had already gotten the heavy duty laundry bag as well. By the time we get to May 8th and 9th, okay? So around 8 p.m. at night, Tesla data and phone data were located, placing them at his residence. At around 1 a.m. on the 9th of May, Tesla data shows the vehicle back near the SR 154 corridor in Santa Barbara County. Why was he back out there again? 1:50 to 1:51 a.m. cell phone and Tesla records showed nearly simultaneous connections to the same area. So he was out there for a minute again. Roker testified the two devices continued traveling together. So 4 hours later, less than 4 hours later, Tesla data on that same day, Tesla data showed the vehicle had returned to his residence in the Hollywood Hills. Then, several days later, May 31st. Hold on. May 31st. Let's look. He had already bought all that stuff, mind you. May 31st. Let's go over here. At around 1:25 to 5:52 p.m., his phone started near his home before traveling towards SR 154 area, or the SR 154 area. 447 to 448, cell phone and Tesla records connected to the same cell phone tower, or to the same cell tower, within about a minute of each other. So he was out there for a minute, okay? He was out there for almost 4.5 hours. A whole 2 hours and 20 minutes of time, which is 6 p.m. to 8:20 p.m., data shows his phone and Tesla traveling back south to his residence. So, possibilities here. Theories. He went out, he unalived her, he took a drive. He took some of her belongings, and I think he took her body. Because he can't just leave it there. You never know. Somebody might show up to the house. So he throws it in the car. It's better off that she is in the car with him and not just laying out, bleeding out, on the living room floor or anywhere else, mind you, because anyone could walk into that house. So he puts Celeste in the car. He drives out that night on April 23rd, and he goes out to this Santa Barbara area. He goes up to SR 154, the State Route 154, and he has her belongings, and he's throwing her stuff out. And I guess he's sitting there just trying to figure ish out. He sits out there for 3 whole hours by himself. I mean, accompanied by Celeste, and maybe he's thinking, well, I'll just dig a shallow grave with my hands. Maybe if I do this, that, and the third, I don't know what to do with this body. What am I going to do? So then he goes back home. After several hours, he gets the shovel. But then here's the other thing, though, too. He bought all this other stuff. So maybe he bought the shovel in plans to maybe cut her up and then bury her. You see what I'm saying? Maybe cut her up, put her in a body bag, and then drive back out there and bury her. Maybe. But the question is, why didn't he do it? Why did he end up just leaving her in the body bag? Did he not have enough time? Agro Angel, what if she was still alive when he drove out with her? That's still possible too. That is very possible. That is very, very possible. There is the other theory that maybe he took her out there. You know, he's like, hey, you know, let's go for a ride, girl. Let's just go for a ride. You know, like, I just want to spend some time with you, but let's talk. Let's get out of the car, or let's get out of the house. Let's just go for a ride, listen to some new music. There's some new music I'm working on. And then they just drove up the road, Santa Barbara. They go up there. They go up to the this area where they're sitting up there for 3 hours, right? They're sitting up there for 3 hours. Then he attacks her. Or, here's the other thing. He attacks her. She's slowly bleeding out. Somehow he gets her into the car, and then they drive off to that area together, and she's still alive, but she's slowly fading away. But he takes her up there. For what reason, I don't know. That's the other possibility. And it's like, you know, this is my favorite place, and I wanted to share it with you before you die. I don't know. That just sounds wild, but maybe that's what it was too. And how she was attacked and how she lost her, you know, how she was stabbed may have taken a while for her to pass away. Maybe it did. And then he stayed there. He stayed up there for a while, you know, dealing with what he just did to this poor girl, and also trying to figure out what he's going to do with the body. And then he says, all right, well, let me put her in the, you know, let me stick her in the back of the car, and I'm going to get back home. He throws out her stuff because, again, here's the thing. He's up there for 3 hours. Take a look. He's up there for 3 hours, right? And then he returns home. And that's when he's sitting there trying to figure things out. So she's already gone. He's bought the shovel. He's bought all the other pieces of equipment that he's going to use to take her apart. And then he goes back up, which is interesting. That night, he goes back out there. He goes back to SR 154. Why does he go back out there on May 9th? Several days after she had already lost her life. Did he take that shovel out there? Was he going to bury her there? Did he already dismantle her? You see what I'm saying? I got questions, y'all. Like I said, this is terrible. This is terrible. I'd like to get down to the bottom of it badly. But let's take a look at this. This is very interesting. Okay. This is according to this has to do with the this is Lauren Conlon apparently talking about what happened inside the courtroom with SF Investigates and all that. So according to Lauren Conlon, drama unfolded in the courtroom today with a frustrated judge entering the courtroom Thursday morning with several issues she wanted to put on record. Before testimony resumed for the third day of D4VD's preliminary hearing, the judge announced she received an email informing the court's media office that a content creator in another state was receiving live transmitted updates about what was occurring in court. Wow. The judge had previously ordered that live transmitting for this hearing was not allowed, and the order is stated before court begins every morning. An altercation took place between Beth Silverman and private investigator Steve Fisher, with Silverman accusing Fisher of directing negative comments at her and stating he should not be present in the courtroom as he was previously a witness in the grand jury. Finally, Silverman stated on record that Celeste's family attorney, Patrick Steinfeld, had spoken with Fisher on day one of the hearing, which she also stated was not allowed. Steinfeld turned to Fisher and stated that he approached the investigator, and the conversation lasted 15 seconds. Fisher ultimately left the courtroom without objection. So she apparently did an interview with SF Investigates, Taylor, okay, following this interaction with Silverman on Tuesday. He stated Beth Silverman is not a fan of him, previously predicting more of that will come out. Interesting. He did say that in another interview with Taylor. He's like, yo, she doesn't like me too much, so she might be after me. She might come after me, right? She does not like the fact that I've kept the story. I've tried to keep it in the media while nothing seems to be happening. Interesting. This is what Fisher said. So more forensic evidence was discussed once court began. So she'll be, Lauren Conlon will be providing more information, and full video will be posted on once they have their lunch break. But let's take a listen to this. This is interesting. Interesting. So she has her sights out for this guy.
Speak a little bit about what happened.
Yeah, so Beth Silverman is not a fan of mine. More of that, I think, will come out as transcripts are released from grand juries and whatnot. Maybe the reason why she does not like the fact that I have kept the story. I've tried to keep it in the media, while nothing seemed to be happening, and this is before grand juries were going on. And what happened in the hallway, which really kind of shocked me, was the family attorney for Celeste family. He came up and introduced himself. I didn't know who he was. I never met him, and he took me aside, and we had a few nice words, and he thanked me for advocating for Celeste. And Beth Silverman walked by and heard that, and actually grabbed him and told him she was not allowed to talk to me, that he was not allowed to talk to me, and pulled him away. And that's really bizarre from a district attorney to say that an attorney for a family is not allowed to talk to me. It's really, like I said, I don't understand why that happened or the legalities around that. But she pulled him away and said right in front of you too, but in front of a lot of people, you're not allowed to talk to him. You're not talking to him. And
have you ever had an interaction with a prosecutor like that before?
Never. I mean, I've had a couple with this one, where she actually gave me a handwritten note at one point and told me how to appear in court. And I had in order to protect myself, I had to put that out on social media because it was like an underground hearing. She was trying to have me punished for speaking about the case. And there's been some, detectives knocking on my home door at 6 a.m. in the morning. Detectives from her office, from the DA's office, not LAPD. So it's very bizarre. I don't know why she's so worried about me, but she is.
Interesting. So she has her sights out for SF Investigates. I'd really like to know what was being said. Just being real. I'd really like to know what he did or what he said that really pissed her off. Because let's be real. Beth Silverman is trying to get justice for Celeste Rivas, right? So it's interesting that she would feel some type of way, because you'd think that they would be on the same team. Does that make sense? So that just seems weird. Well, if he's an investigator, does he have protections? Other protections other don't have, Pascal. What? Oh, protections others don't have. That's a good question. I don't know, Lindsay. I don't know if he, you know what I mean? That's the thing. I don't know, within the confines of private investigators and all that, like, what, if there's a bunch of red tape that, or a bunch of legalities and stuff like that protect him from like civilian, being treated as a civilian or something like that. I don't know. I really don't. But that's interesting, Wait, so SF investigators got kicked out, and according to Sloan, there was another person who was taking notes on a live sheet. Interesting. And his partner was in a different state making videos about it. That is interesting. Interesting. I don't know who is doing that, because you're not allowed to have your phones in the room tweeting or sending information, like, at all. You think, for a fact, everybody would have transcripts. Everybody would be writing out transcripts like Inner City Press did for Diddy's trial, right? We would see everything, but that's not the case here. Everybody just is running out and, busting out the door and trying to give out as much information as they can, during these very, very brief breaks. So if that is the case, that would be insane. That's interesting. So let us see here. I'm sure there's more. We got things to look at. Let me see what's going on with Mark the Shark real quick. All right. Let me see what's going on here.
Streamers too. I've been trying to see if there's any streamers that have been associated with David in the past, and I didn't see any. So I'll be on the lookout for that. And let's see. I had to step out for a little bit because my throat was bothering me, so I had to step out, and I was coughing pretty loud, and I didn't want to interrupt Beth Silverman. I didn't want to get yelled at. I didn't want to be brought up into the in front of the judge. So I excused myself and got some Hall medicine, some Halls.
And skip ahead.
13 seconds at 4:30 p.m. with 15 seconds. They are tracking the cell phone, and they have to say the cell phone. They can't say the defendant's cell phone or Tesla. And they had a little bit back and forth, and they were saying, well, Beth's argument is like, well, it's registered to him, and so the defense is like, well, don't say that it's my client. But are you guys going live? Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna get out of your way. Yeah. And so that was, it's just a lot of information, a lot of info that's going on. ¿Qué pasa? Sí, está bien. You guys want to hear an interview? I'm going to go do an interview right now.
No, los dos, que ella se va a ir.
Oh, ¿ya se va a ir?
Sí.
Sí, sí, sí. Hey, what up?
Mi primer nombre es Ashley, mi apellido es Panda.
I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit so we can get some info.
An interview recapping, but I know I gotta get some lunch. I haven't eaten food, but guys, there's a lot of information, man. A ton of information that's going on right now. I want to get sharp because they are doing dates and times that are just phenomenal, man. Just the amount of information that is being presented right now in the courtroom, it is tracking, and I'm not exaggerating. It is tracking that Tesla second by second by second by second by second.
That's crazy.
Going up the coast from LA to San Ynez, Santa Barbara area. And also the what's it called? The charging stations too. The charging stations have data when you connect it. Okay, so my mind is just blown away right now. Yeah, I am not exaggerating. Like, I am just blown away by all the data that is going on right now. Guys, hold on a second. Let me do an interview real quick.
That's a big ass one.
Web. With the Tesla data, the info neurons in the. I'm gonna go in to get some lunch because get those neurons in the brain clicking right. So I'm gonna go in. I gotta get some lunch. There's a lot of detail going on right now. Again, with the cell phone data, with the Tesla data, the info entertainment data, and man, this thing is just. I am impressed beyond all my expectations with the data because we've always thought, what is it? Primer Impacto? Oh, Primer Impacto. Primer Impacto, guys. Make sure you guys go check him out, all right? So, I'm going to take my notes, but I'm going to tweet out a few information. Check out my Twitter.
I was
have
hoping
one of the mods
hear
drop
some
that,
stuff.
and I'm going to go grab some lunch right now. And check out every from me. Trapmo Ross is here too. Really supportive of me and my channel. So nothing but good things about Trapmo Ross, man. He's just so the respect is mutual, and so it's just I want you guys to hang tight. I'm gonna go get some lunch right now, and I'm gonna start tweeting out some info in the Twitter. So I really need to go grab some lunch. Okay, so again, stay tuned. And the medical examiner is supposed to be here today. So we'll see what happens with that, guys. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Yeah, somebody dropped Ross's channel in here. Show him some love. Make sure you guys go follow him. He's doing a story right now. He's doing videos. He uploads videos constantly about this case. So make sure you check him out. And I will be right back.
Okay. So there's that. Not much information. I mean, he did say like, yo, the information, like the like the Tesla was, tracking everything second by second. It is like, it was on like crazy, which I get. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, yeah. I'm like, come on, we need a little bit more than just this. But I get, like, I get it. You know what I'm saying? But honestly, I'm like, man, I just need a little bit more than that. So we're going to see if maybe Lauren came out with another video, maybe. Just seeing if she did. Nothing so far. But the timeline says a lot. The timeline says a lot. And it does ask, it's I got a lot of questions about the timeline, because he did this and then he drove out to basically Santa Barbara, right? He did this, and then he drove out to Santa Barbara, and then he was up there in this area for like 3 hours, just chilling. And I'm like, well, what happened here? Why did it go the way it went down? Can we figure out what actually happened here? Right? The timeline is very, very interesting, but I'm going to see if there's other, other people doing updates and all that. Let me just see. 1 second. Let us see. This must have been during the breaks, I'm assuming. Let me see.
David's phone and his Tesla are officially telling on him. He has basically been associated with his own cell number. We saw from an expert that deals with kind of cell tower analysis today, and they basically said that they completely tracked his car and his phone together. You know, his defense kept making objections saying you can't say he traveled that night that Celeste was murdered. You have to say it was his car and his phone together traveled. You can't say that it was definitely him. Definitely clutching at straws, but they basically explained that allegedly, the night that Celeste was murdered, around 11 p.m., which was reportedly, within an hour of the alleged murder taking place, we heard in earlier paperwork that they believe it took place in the house. He took this long drive up to Santa Barbara, stayed there all night, drove back down, got back home at 7 in the morning, and he made that same journey again a few kind of weeks later, I believe, on May the 5th, on May the 8th, and again on May the 31st. We're waiting to find out what was he doing going up there those times. David.
That's what I'd like to know too. Shout out to Trapmore Ross. That's what I'd like to know too. What made him go back more than just once? He went up after she lost her life. After he took her life, he went up there. Then he was up there for many hours, and then he went back down, and then he went back up. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, what is it about that particular area that is grabbing his attention so damn much? Look at this again. She lost her life. So then he took a drive. He went up to the Santa Barbara area, right? He was there. He stuck around for about 3 hours, and then he head back home. Then a couple days later, or like several days later, he went back up there in that same area late at night, Santa Barbara County area. Then, like technically on May 9th, okay? But then he went back home. Then again, several weeks later, he went back out there again to that same area. So what was he doing all 3 times? What was he doing all 3 times? I mean, did he like throw those fingers out there? You see what I'm saying? Like, what did he do here? Why did he do what he did? It just doesn't make sense. Of course, we're all trying to figure that out, right? We're trying to make this make sense. But this still does not mean, this still means to me that this mother lover did this. It's without question. Okay? It is without question that he did this. Okay? So, without question. Oh my gosh. Okay. So, interesting. Let's take a look. Hold on. Sorry, guys. 1 second, please. Let's take a look at this. This is from yesterday from Jesse Weber, but he's been covering this a lot too. News Nation's been very, very, interested in seeing what's going on here, right? But let's take a look.
testimony in the preliminary hearing to determine whether or not there is enough evidence to put singer David, real name, legal name, David Anthony Burke, on trial for the horrific alleged murder, dismemberment, and sexual abuse of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Because today, prosecutors continue to focus on David's finances and lucrative career, even seemingly on who may have known about Burke's alleged relationship with Celeste, including one of his money managers who admitted to at least hearing of Celeste's first name, the fact that she may have traveled with Burke to London. Now, remember, this is all important because prosecutors are not only trying to prove that Burke had an illegal sexual relationship with Celeste, a minor, but that he also had a financial motive to kill her in order to prevent her from revealing it. This is a special circumstance allegation that can carry the potential of the death penalty. I mean, you had testimony that revealed Burke earned a whopping $10 million between 2023 and 2025. So it gives you an idea of what he could have lost. And the court also heard testimony about the condition of the Tesla where Celeste's body was reportedly found. You had one criminalist describing the odor from the vehicle and noting that 11 air fresheners had been placed inside. Suspicious? This was alongside testimony from another criminalist about evidence of blood that was apparently found at Burke's home. Now look, Burke is innocent unless proven guilty. He has pleaded not guilty to the charges of first-degree murder, continuous sexual abuse of a child, unlawful mutilation of human remains. There is a lot to get into tonight. I have a great panel. Joining me now live from Los Angeles, senior national correspondent Brian Enton, who's been at the courthouse, and famed criminal trial attorney Mark Garagos, host of the podcast Two Angry Men, Reasonable Doubt. Brian, I'm going to start with you. What was the biggest takeaway for you from today's testimony?
I mean, look, it was another tough day just in terms of how gruesome and horrific the details are. You mentioned the deodorizers inside, the air fresheners inside the Tesla. There were 11 of them. The stench was so bad from the decomposing body, Jesse, and there were maggots and there were insects. And one of those air fresheners, you couldn't even see it because it was literally, we saw the pictures, it was literally covered in maggots. So, and you think that, you know, Celeste's parents are sitting right there. The details were awful. They talked about the chemical test for the blood. There was the potential of blood pretty much being everywhere. The kiddie pool that we've heard so much about that the prosecution alleges is where Celeste's body was dismembered. There was a gasp in the courtroom, Jesse. It's the first time that's happened. Literally, people in the courtroom gasped when they showed the photo of how the entire kiddie pool lit up when they put the light over it to show just how much blood there was, Jesse.
Yeah, and they're basically trying to say this is David's Tesla. This was his property, right? They're trying to show evidence of him driving the car. How on earth could he not have known what had happened and what was going on there? But Mark, I want to go to you, the law. Look, to me, the question is not so much does the prosecution have enough evidence to move this to trial, which is the purpose of this preliminary hearing. It's a low standard. It's a low bar for the prosecution. You just have to show probable cause. Seems to me likely the court will find that. You may disagree. But to me, we are seeing the evidence and the building blocks of the case should this go to trial. We're seeing how strong the prosecution may think their case is to possibly negotiate a deal with David should this move forward with the death penalty. Look at what we have. So in your opinion, how has the prosecution done so far at ultimately trying to prove the charges and the special circumstances?
Well, I think right now, and I know this may not be a popular opinion, but what the prosecution has proved is that apparently after she died, she was dismembered and she was allowed to decompose in the car, which is gruesome. I agree with Brian, and disgusting. And, the deodorizers are graphic and all of that, and the kiddie pool where the dismemberment took place is all very graphic. The problem is the prosecution still has not, at this point, after 2 days of a preliminary hearing, talked about how they are going to forensically show how she was killed. And I suppose we've got 2 more days to prove that. But so far, that isn't what we've seen.
Mark, I hear you. I hear you on that. Makes me wonder, is the defense trying to build the argument, and Brian, I'll go to you in a second, but do you think that the defense is trying to build the argument, Mark? He purchased all these things, the chainsaws, the laundry bags, the body bag, after she died, so not before. You can't say that he planned it, right? Maybe it was a heat of the moment killing. Maybe it was self-defense. Do we really know what happened in the house? Are they also trying to say the chainsaws, there was negative testing for blood, although I believe one of the chainsaws might have been missing. Is that the kind of argument that you see them forming? That maybe we have to say he was part of the cover-up, he was part of the dismemberment, but in terms of this actually being murder, maybe not?
I think you've hit on it precisely. Take a look at the statement that I think was carefully crafted by the defense. I think that shows, and as you pointed out, not only the chainsaws had nothing on them, but in addition to that, the box that was found was unopened, and there has been precious little information or evidence so far that would show exactly how this was done or when it was done. We know precisely what happened afterwards. What we don't have is what happened before, and that is one of the kind of prosecutorial hurdles they have to get over, even for a low bar of a probable cause preliminary hearing.
Now, Brian, you tell me if there was any evidence that you heard about the actual killing yet. I know we might hear text messages, we might hear about the Uber, we might hear about how he allegedly lured her to the property. But so tell me about that. But also, there was something else that happened today that I wanted your opinion about. There was this heated moment, right, where the prosecutor pushed Burke's money manager, business associate, on what he knew about this relationship between David and Celeste, right? What happened there?
Yeah, and the money manager testimony has been very interesting because, first of all, there was a lot of money moving around and a lot of money at stake. He had just signed a $19 million deal. So there was a lot of money at stake. The money manager still works for the family right now and is getting paid and is still somewhat in charge of the money, but denied knowing much about Celeste, despite the fact that David allegedly bought the plane ticket to London, bought the plane ticket to Texas, and claimed that the money manager claimed that he mostly dealt with David's mom, that David wasn't so much involved in the money himself. But you could tell the prosecution was trying to make the point that there was money at stake here, and if it came out that David was in this kind of a relationship with someone underage, everything could go away for him.
Yeah, Mark, what's your opinion about that? In the sense, is it trying to say, yeah, no one else knew that he was taking her to London, he did it by himself, he kept this secret, but at the same time, is that true, or are you seeing the kind of the rumblings of maybe there were other people that knew something and didn't act up? Maybe there are other people that helped in some way. Remember, he's also charged with a sex crime here. Where do you see this going in terms of what other people in his orbit knew or didn't know?
I hate to be the cynic here, but this to me is kind of a pretextual prosecutorial gambit or gamesmanship. What they're trying to do is prove a special circumstance. Yeah. Well, the special circumstance is the financial motive. The reason that I personally think that Beth is kind of going after the money manager,
Beth Silverman, the prosecutor,
Beth Silverman, is because he won't give her what she wants. And the reason she wants special circumstance, with his resources, if there's no special circumstance, he's out on bail. If he's out on bail, it's harder to convict him. Part of this gamesmanship that's going on is you keep him in on a special circumstance. That means he can't get out on bail. That makes it tougher on him to defend the case. And that's unfortunately one of the things, or one of the gambits that prosecutors get into. This is not by any stretch of the imagination a financial crime or done for finances. I reject that. I think that's nonsense.
Well, I hear where they're going with it, because look, Brian, you tell me what we can expect next from this preliminary hearing. Are we going to hear the text messages between Celeste and David, potentially leading up to when she allegedly went to his place? Because if that's the key, and she says, I'm going to tell everybody about you and what we've been up to, and then he allegedly kills her the next day, I'd imagine that's going to be key. So you tell me what we're looking out for in the next few days of this preliminary hearing.
Yeah, we're looking out for the text messages. What I think may be even more important, though, is going to be the medical examiner. And it seems he is going to be testifying, and that may happen tomorrow, because think about all the questions that Mark was asking about and how she died and even how they were able to determine it when there was... when we saw the pictures, there was... you couldn't tell it was a person. And I think that his testimony is going to be important, and I'm interested to see the way the defense questions him, and I think that may happen tomorrow.
Yeah, look, remember what the defense said at the very beginning, right? At the very beginning of his arrest, they said, our client didn't commit this murder. Our client is not the cause of Celeste's death. However, if they match up the timing, they said that her phone, she never made any contact anymore after allegedly going to his house. You can see how the prosecution makes this argument. Mark will have...
Yeah, I mean, again, they've already done all the work. I'm just saying, okay? They've already done all the work. Prosecution has already done a lot of the groundwork to be basically like, hey, this is all the information that you need to see. Take a look at all this. There's a timeline here. There's clearly something that's going on. We haven't even gotten into, let's not forget, we haven't gotten into the correspondence, like the text messages between them, which will be smoking gun evidence as well. They haven't even talked about the CSAM stuff. Like, we haven't seen anything yet. We've only seen the car, evidence of the car, evidence of the data from the actual Tesla and his cell phone from cell phone towers and all that. Like, he drove the worst car for any murderer on this planet. He drove the worst car for any guilty individual, for any criminal, because this Tesla, it literally left breadcrumbs on every single place that he went and was following him everywhere he went. So he's cooked, y'all. This dude is so cooked. All right? He's so cooked. Let's not forget the body being found in the car. That's enough evidence. It's his car. The stuff that he bought. Again, all the stuff that was bought. All of it. Bang, 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 bang. All that crap that he bought. The body. The data. And we haven't even gotten started. They haven't even warmed up yet. They're still stretching. They haven't even done a quick 5 to 10 minute warm-up run. They haven't done a damn thing yet. And we haven't even gotten into the content on the phone, and we haven't even gotten into the correspondence and the information and the reason why he ended up taking her life. We haven't even seen the text messages or anything of that sort. We have been talking about his finances and all that BS. We haven't even fully worn up yet. Yeah, that's a weird pause. You know? It's like Jesse Weber's about to break into song or something like that. But that's crazy, right? Yeah. And it's not even the trial. I know. Isn't that crazy? And that's not, it's not even the trial. So again, the trial itself, I mean, we already know he's cooked. We already know. Look at the small amount of, look at just the information that they've given us so far. Let's talk about the car itself. Forget where she was found. I'm talking about the back of the car. The fact that they were spraying like a chemical kind of like luminol all over the back seat of the car, and that mother lover lit up like a freaking Christmas tree. It looked like a Jackson Pollock painting with a, like a black light shown on a Jackson Pollock painting. You know what I mean? It was just splatter everywhere. That's enough to say, yo, I mean, to me, that's just me though. I'm not the judge. He had all the incentive. He had all the motivation to do what he ended up doing. Let me see if Lauren Conlon put up anything. Let's see. But that's wild that people were getting kicked out. People were live tweeting or like leaving information, sending out information. I think that's pretty diabolical, to be really honest. When they asked people not to do that, see, that's the problem, guys. When they say don't do that, right? They tell you not to do that, and then people go and do that. This is the exact reason why us content creators get such a bad rap, because people are willing to like bend the rules or avoid the rules and do things that they shouldn't be doing. Now, I don't know who did it, and I don't care. But at the same time, I don't care. But at the same time, it's wrong. Like that people are doing that. That makes it worse, because then next thing you know, literally the people could literally go like, yo, F off. You're not allowed to be here. All y'all. You're just going to have to hear it from legacy media. Bye. Oh, I don't care if you bought a ticket to fly out to LA. Good on you. Go and enjoy the palm trees. Bye. You see what I'm saying? It's bad. Hold on one second. Let me just check. I'm checking to see if just seeing if there's anything else here real quick before we continue on. And I don't see anything from Brian Enton either, which is interesting. I haven't heard anything from Bri. Yeah, nothing from Brian Enton. He must be on to another project or another thing, or he's taking the day off. I don't know, but that's interesting that we're not hearing anything from him either. I just think that's interesting. Sorry, y'all. Just taking a quick look at a few things. Just seeing what's new updates, what's not, that kind of thing. Kind of waiting for Lauren Conlon's update here too. She does have an article, which we're gonna look at here. Unless, hold on. That is, oh, I guess she just posted something. She must have just posted it. Bang. Bingo, bango. We got one.
3 of David's preliminary hearing, and the morning was definitely very awkward, very, very bizarre. We started off with the judge wanting to make an announcement on the record about someone in the media doing live transmission on Wednesday. I guess the media office got a call about this, and it was actually really annoying, I think, to a lot of journalists, because when we walked in this morning, we were told that we might not be able to have our laptops because of this person, and I was like, are you kidding me? But no, then you kind of felt bad for them because they got admonished in front of the judge and they were asked to leave, and yeah, so that was that. And following that, Beth Silverman said she wanted to make an announcement on the record, basically saying that someone in the gallery, a woman she didn't see in the moment, was making comments to her, negative comments to her, and I guess she wanted that on the record. It was pretty bizarre, but then she turned around and she...
Maybe some sort of intimidation tactic that this person was doing? You know what I'm saying? But that's wild, right? That's wild.
We looked at Steve Fisher, who was in the gallery. He's a private investigator. He did some work, or he does some work for the homeowner, the man that owns the home that David rented in the Hollywood Hills. And she was just like, Steve can't be here. He was a grand jury witness. Oh, and we saw him talking in the hallway to the Rivas Hernandez family attorney, and he shouldn't have done that. And she just said he's going to be posting because he posts every day anyway. I was like, oh my goodness. And Steve stood up, and he was very polite and gracious about it. But then the Rivas Hernandez attorney stood up and just said, I just want to clarify, that I was the one that approached Steve. It was a 15-second conversation. That's all it was. And Steve's like, yeah, let's put that on the record. And then Steve left. And then what was crazy was that I guess Beth Silverman kind of turned around, and this is not on the record, but she turned around to talk to Patrick Steinfeld, and they were getting, or at least I heard her get loud with him. And she said something like, push me, you'll see how far that goes, or I'll pull your badge. And I was like, well, this is an interesting start. So anyway, we started off with the first witness being the criminologist from Wednesday, who was Lauren Wallace. Blair Burke was finishing off her cross-examination, and her focus again was based on evidence that wasn't collected or tested. So we went back to the two chainsaws that did not get tested, because when they were tested for phenolphthalein, it came back as negative. And I'm so bad at pronouncing that, sorry. Phenolphthalein. So because that test was negative, they said they didn't need to test it for touch DNA or anything else. And then we heard about the third chainsaw, which some people have said or described it as, quote, missing. This chainsaw was a handheld chainsaw, and it was found in a closet, or a storage closet. And this was also not tested for touch DNA either, because it came back negative when they tested for the phenolphthalein. So because of that, it wasn't tested, and it wasn't collected. And Wallace kind of said, not everything we collect anyway gets tested. It's sometimes up to the investigators. We discussed this. It's just physically impossible to test everything that we collect anyway. She also said they found jugs of fake blood and trays in the garage, which they did the pheno testing. That was negative, so they didn't log this into evidence either. She was asked about the burn cage, if she saw it. She said she didn't. She wasn't instructed to search over there. And then on redirect, Beth Silverman said, reiterated that not everything at a crime scene that is collected gets tested, only things that are deemed to have potential forensic value. And Wallace agreed. And let me see. Yeah, and she reiterated again that they work together, criminologists and analysts and detectives, to see what most likely would be useful that would have DNA evidence. So they just didn't deem those items useful because of the negative phenolphthalein testing. So the next witness was then LAPD criminologist Lisa Lehendro, a 26-year veteran of the department. So she focused on Celeste's clothing and the inflatable pool. So I'll start with the inflatable pool. She identified some hairs, fibers, plant material, and possible foam-like flakes on this pool using a stereo microscope. She collected these herself. Some fell off manually onto a special mat that she used. And this was also talked about during Blair Burke's cross-examination. So what she did was, there were several pieces that we saw of the blue fragments that she got from the medical examiner's office, and she kind of described putting these into the inflatable pool like a puzzle. So there were several pieces that fit, but then there were also about a dozen very, very small pieces that had the same characteristics as the pool material, and it could have originated from the pool, but she could not definitively conclude that they were physical matches because some of the portions of the fragments were missing. They were just small, they were kind of graded, and so again, we also saw later on when we saw photos of Celeste's clothing, her leggings, there were blue fragments embedded in the leggings in some of the clothes. So it was brutal. Her clothes were displayed and it was awful. I mean, the clothing was in very, very poor condition, very strong odor, significant deterioration, and basically soiled. I think her tube top was yellow at one point. It was very hard to tell. She had like brownish socks, Victoria's Secret underwear. The socks were Skechers. The tube top was Forever 21, sorry. And then her black leggings, they appeared to be ripped in half. Sorry.
Anytime now.
So,
okay.
We saw a close-up of a black fragment from the leggings that was supposed to be tested, and it was tested, but all of the clothes were so heavily soiled that the comparative testing that Alejandra was asked to conduct couldn't really happen, just because everything was in such bad condition with the decomposition. So let me see. Oh, so the black fragment that from the leggings, we think she collected hairs, fibers, and other trace particles, 2 yellow stains from that black fragment using sterile swabs, but she could not complete that analysis because of the deteriorated condition of the clothing. So that was unfortunate. Let me see what else. During the cross-examination, Blair Burke questioned the scope of her analysis. She pointed out that the fragment comparisons were based on physical characteristics and they were not exhaustive. She, let me see, I talked about what fell naturally from the pool. Oh, she talked about the criminologist tried to lift prints from the pool with basically these print impressions that were left. They were made through, or she saw them through dust. So she was attempting to use an electrostatic dust print lifter and it was unsuccessful. She kind of explained the reasons. The pool was uneven, it was a thick surface, or the possibility that the impressions weren't even made in dust and that's why she couldn't collect them. But Blair Burke said, well, did detectives even give you a shoe to compare against these possible footprints? And she said no. The next witness was LAPD Detective William Roker, a 9-year vet assigned to the Robbery Homicide Investigative Support Unit who specializes in cellular record analysis. I did a whole chart on Twitter. I put this on LAMag.com, but basically he detailed the trips to Santa Barbara and the fact that David's Tesla data and his cell phone data, they pinged certain towers. They were conclusive with one another and these trips. And there was a very, something that, again, we knew about this from the pretrial brief, but he did attempt to call Celeste. The call came through on April 24th around midnight. This was when she was reportedly already deceased. And it went he basically said it was unavailable. And the reasons being that, it could have gone straight to voicemail, it would have been on airplane mode, or it would have been turned off. But yeah. This call was made. So go ahead, read my articles, lamag.com, go to my Twitter, go to LAMag's Twitter, and I will have more details later this afternoon in a written story, and definitely another video by tomorrow.
Yeah, guys. So again, to me, this is, I feel like there's enough already. Like, they could be done today. That's just what I think. They could have been done the first day, in my personal opinion. But they will have another day tomorrow. I mean, they're still going to be doing, like, the medical examiner today as well. And I think that's going to be very, very revealing and very shocking as well. Because, I mean, obviously, they're going to be talking about what he actually did. What were the findings that on her body, when they believe she actually, what time of her death was, and, what her actual, cause of demise is and all that. I mean, there's so many things you got to put into consideration here, but I'm telling you right now, they don't even need to waste any more time. They could literally, Secret Wars. You know what I mean? This is an open and shut case, in my personal opinion. Okay. Like everybody else can, think otherwise. Some people out here are still sitting here going, free my man D4VD. No, he did this. It's a wrap. This judge should not be like, okay, let's have 5 more days. You know, it's kind of like, I think after today I've had enough. I think we're done, you know? Yeah, Quantum. Blair Burke's best defense is shoe prints. Blair Burke's best defense is, well, did you test the blood that was in the back of, that was detected in the back of the car? It's like, what? Oh, you didn't? Ooh, so that, see, Judge? Innocent, not guilty. You know what I'm saying? It's like, come on now. No. Like, are you you really trying to use this as an excuse? This is the best you can do? Is this your king? That's crazy. That's crazy. You can't make this stuff up, man. You can't make this stuff up. I mean, this is just, it's just dumb. It's just dumb. I mean, you know, eventually this will be a wrap. Hold on, let's see. Yeah, it's so wild that like SF Investigates literally got let go. He got kicked out. It's so strange. It's just so strange. Let's see. I'm looking at a few other things. Yeah, like Brian Enton isn't there for some weird reason. I don't know why. That's something I'm trying to figure out, like why he's not there. Yeah. And here's the other thing too, right here. David's lawyers are asking, you know, why wasn't there more testing done, you know, on chainsaws and car in the, you know, in this situation, right, where she was found, right? Lawyers for D4VD began showing glimpses into their defense strategy Thursday, pressing police on why they didn't conduct more DNA testing on items found in the singer's home and in his car that authorities said were used to take Celeste's life. The questioning came on the third day of preliminary hearing, where a judge will decide whether there is a probable cause for D4VD to be put on trial for charges of what he's being charged of. I'll just highlight it right here really quick. We already know it, though, right? So moving on. Oh, okay. Okay. I'll look into it, you know, when I get a second. I mean, so here's the thing. SF Investigates is not the story. You see what I'm saying? Like, he got kicked out. I know that sucks. That's terrible. But he's not the story. You see what I'm saying? Celeste is the story, right? D4VD and him getting justice slapped upside his head is the story. Whether or not SF Investigates is in the courtroom or not, yes, it's shocking. And I don't know I don't know why it happened, but it's not the story. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just not the story. With all due respect, I'm not saying I don't care. It's shocking, but it's not going to change the outcome of whether or not Celeste Rivas Hernandez gets justice or not. You see what I'm saying? Because we already know SF Investigates is there because he wants justice for Celeste, just like anybody else. And he asks questions just like anybody else, right? But at the end of the day, whether he's in that room or not does not change the outcome of this verdict. What these two sides do, defense and prosecution do, definitely matter. So, like I said, it sucks for him. It's terrible that happened. I didn't know that there was some, rift or some issues going on, and hopefully he'll be able to go back in tomorrow. You know what I mean? But he's not the story, So hopefully he goes back in, but I'm just saying it was shocking that he got put out, but it's not, I'm not, no disrespect to him or his work. It's just, like I said, he's not the story. The story is this case and bringing justice, right? So, hopefully he gets back in. I hope he does. We'll see what happens. You know what I mean? But moving back, he's pleaded not guilty. His lawyers have said they will vigorously defend his innocence. He's not innocent, but have previously given little indication of any counter narrative they may present about how Rivas lost her life, how Celeste lost her life, and how she was taken apart and then put into his car. They have never, that's a very, very good point right there. They have not bothered to say, hey, so see what had happened was. They haven't done what had happened was. They just keep on saying, oh, so you haven't tested all the blood that was found inside all of the car? Ew. See? Client, innocent, right? That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. They haven't come in with a narrative to say, hey, yeah, he was out playing mahjong and learning how to crochet during the time that she lost her life. And one of his friends, Ray and them, was borrowing the Tesla. So whatever they ended up using the Tesla for, he don't even know. And he was high as hell on shrooms and PCP. Yes, sir. He was so high, he didn't know what. And it was a full-on several day, in fact, a full-on couple months high. It was a continuous high. And there were psychedelic substances. So everything he was seeing in front of him, he just thought it was a fabrication of his own imagination because he was on this, several week-long trip. You feel me? So my client is innocent. They haven't given us any different narrative. They have not said, how did she end up in the car? Do you mind breaking that down for us? How did she end up? By the way, more importantly, real talk, no jokes, just saying, how did she end up in the car in pieces? Did she accidentally fall into the front trunk of the Tesla and just fall to pieces, like suddenly dismantle, like she was a Barbie doll or something? And while she was falling into the front trunk of your Tesla, she happens to fall into a body bag. But not all of her body goes into the body bag. Some of it goes into the body bag, and some other of it goes into another bag as she's dismantling by herself. And then randomly, the Tesla front trunk just shuts the hood as she gets into the body bag and the other bag that they found her in. It just went whoop by itself, and he wasn't there. In fact, the car drove itself and did its self-parking thing, because the car itself is like, ooh, we about to smell. We about to smell up this whole entire house. We better back up, because Elon Musk put in a smell detector in the Tesla, and whenever the cars are smelling bad, they go and find another place where they can air out by themselves without the owner ever noticing. Like I said, it just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, you know what? This is the moment where you go, hey, why don't we just hit the orchestral music and wrap it up, B? You might as well. I'm done. I know it's a self-driving car. That's why I made that joke about maybe it just parked itself. But it didn't. Because it knew it was smelling so bad. Like, ooh, all of his friends are talking trash. We should move. Let's repark this car for David. Like I said, it just doesn't make any sense. Yeah, the backseat smoothie. Yeah. It's ridiculous. They're literally grasping at straws because they haven't come in and said, "Oh yeah, see what happened was he lent his car to someone else and she went off to hang out with that someone else. And then when he came back without Celeste. And not once did David need a reason to open the front trunk of his Tesla. So it was for several months where he just didn't open up the front trunk of his Tesla because he didn't need to. So that's what he did. He didn't know that she was in that car at all. Completely dismantled and everything. He didn't know. He was completely oblivious. You see what I'm saying? Oh, you were being sarcastic back. Oh, I see that, Messy. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Now I get it. Aha. Moving on, though. Moving on. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on. This is a wrap. They need to just be done today. Today, they need to be done. They bring in the medical examiner, right? They talk about the, forensic pathologist stuff, his investigation, doing the autopsy, right? They're going to do all that. And then I feel like Beth Silverman should just be like, and that's it, Your Honor. We're done. We don't need to do anything more. I feel like there's enough. So when are we going to trial? We're ready next week. How about y'all? That's it. That's all they need to do. Defense attorney Blair Burke. Bleh. Okay. It's interesting that her name is Burke and his last name is Burke and hers is Burke as well. Crazy. But anyway, dwelled on a pair of small chainsaws found in Burke's garage. And these chainsaws were never allegedly used. There was a third chainsaw that was bought, but we've never seen that chainsaw. Why, you may ask? Because he used it to take her apart. That's what I think. And then he threw it away. Why would he hold on to that? So, Lauren Wallace, a criminalist with the LAPD, testified that initial chemical tests showed no signs of blood on the saws. So the handles were not swabbed for any DNA left behind by someone who touched it. If an item has somebody else's DNA on it, you wouldn't be able to see it at that time, Burke said. No, you would not be able to see touch DNA. Oh, that touch DNA. Ooh, why does that give me PTSD? All right. And of course, then she then reiterated that the blades had tested negative for blood. So, moving on. But that doesn't preclude at all that there could be somebody else's touch DNA. This is what Burke asked. Under prosecution questioning, Wallace said testing for DNA at the suspect's residence wouldn't make sense because the suspect's DNA would be everywhere. That makes sense because it's his home. He's brushing his hair. He's taking a dookie. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? He's showering there. He's combing his hair. He's doing all these different things, right? He's plotting people's murders. You know what I mean? He's doing a lot of things in that home, right? Burke, his defense, soon after asked her, you were aware that multiple people lived at that residence, right? And this person, the investigator, said, yes, we were aware. So Wallace testified earlier that throughout the garage, she found indications of blood that had been cleaned up. She said Thursday that her team also found jugs of fake blood in the garage, which I get it. You know what I mean? I know he was making a lot of content and stuff like that as well. Music videos, so on and so forth, merch and all that. So he could be using all that stuff as well. Possibly that's why the back seat was all jacked up too. That could be it too. But at the same time, the luminol if you spray that luminol, it's only going to bring out blood. It's not just going to bring out corn syrup. You know what I mean? So that doesn't make sense. But anyway, so they're explaining all that crap. Withered, I don't care. You know what I mean? So on Tuesday, we already know what he's been wearing. It's the same thing. Orange is the new black. All right. A police detective, also testified that cell tower tracking Burke's phone and a system in his Tesla showed he was in the Hollywood Hills on the night of the 23rd. The time and place, prosecutors say that Rivas Hernandez lost her life. The data showed that later that night, he traveled to a remote part of Santa Barbara County, and he went back there 2 other times after that. He went there 3 different times altogether. And this is the same area where her passport was found by a highway worker. All right. Prosecutors are seeking to prove that he had a relationship with Celeste Rivas Hernandez when she was only 13. They said in a court filing that she had grown jealous of his relationships with other women and threatened to expose him and ruin his multi-million-dollar career the night before she was killed. The court filings said he sent a car to pick her up on the night of the 23rd of April of 2025. This is when he attacked her right when he arrived at his home. Prosecutors say he kept the body for weeks or months in the front trunk of that Tesla, where it was found after it was towed 4.5 months later in September. Yeah. So again, like, I get them trying to move the goalpost as best as they can, but they are literally trying to move mountains. Okay? They are trying to move mountains, the defense. And this is a cakewalk for prosecution. This is a cakewalk for prosecution. So we'll see what happens here, guys. But it's pretty nutty. It is pretty nutty. Hold on. I'm checking a few things here real quick. Checking a few things. Hold on. Sorry, 1 second, guys. Just seeing if there's any more updates from this part 2 or part 1. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm looking to see if there's any updates. So far, I don't see anything. A lot of it has just been kind of the same things that we've talked about over and over and over again so far. Oh, we got Taylor. Hold on. Let me grab this too. Quantum, thank you so much. People say, why didn't D4VD just pay Celeste off? But if she really felt they were in a relationship and that she was in love, sad, money was not enough. I think that's a situation too, Quantum. I think that was a situation. I don't think it was but I also think that maybe she was trying to. I know this is gonna sound crazy, but maybe she was trying to extort him. Maybe that's what it was too. Maybe she was like, you know what? I'm gonna make your life a living hell, and I'm gonna expose you for the freaking monster that you are. You did these things to me at this age, so on and so forth, and I have proof, and I'm gonna destroy your life. And maybe she was like saying, I want money. Maybe she was going to extort him. Maybe. Or maybe she didn't even think of that. Maybe she didn't even think of that at all. But maybe she did. And then he's thinking, man, that would mean I would have to financially support her or pay her off forever. And then, as time goes on, she could ask for more money because she'll just be like, hey, I still have all the content. I still have all the proof of you doing these illegal things with me. So every year, the price could go up. Today's price ain't yesterday's price. anymore. You know what I'm saying? So I could see him thinking about all that too and being like, yo, I need her out of my life. I don't need to have this girl dangling this over my head for the rest of my days. And then he does what he does, right? I really do think that blue phone had content on there that he did not want people to see. And then police are seeing it. But I think one of the main reasons why he brought her out there, not only was to take her life so he can shut her up and keep her quiet, but I also think he was trying to get her phone so that all that evidence could be destroyed, or he could keep it for himself, for his own content. You know what I mean? Which is kind of disturbing. Think about that. Think about that. But Taylor Parise put up a video just a little while ago.
Hi, I'm Taylor Parise with Los Angeles Magazine, and I am outside the courthouse where day 3 of David Anthony Burke's preliminary hearing has just begun. Our reporter Lauren Conlon is upstairs, and while we wait for her update, I wanted to give a breakdown of what we've learned so far and what we expect to happen today. On day 1, crime scene photographs were introduced of Celeste Rivas Hernandez's remains in a body bag and trash bags located inside the front truck of Burke's Tesla. Bloodstains were also found in the car, along with 11 air fresheners allegedly used to cover up the odor. A shovel, 3 chainsaws, an inflatable pool, body bags, and a burn cage were all found to be purchased on accounts linked to Burke in the days after Celeste's death. These items were purchased from Amazon and through Postmates. On day 2, we learned that David made over $2 million the year that Celeste was killed, and he stood to make up to $19 million before his contract from Interscope Records was pulled. The defense says that David didn't know how much money he was making because his mother handled his finances, whereas the prosecution says he did have a private bank account along with a credit card. Finally, a name was introduced to the case, a bodyguard by the first name of Sheldon, who lived with Burke and allegedly drove him and Celeste around. The prosecution was trying to gauge who knew about Celeste and David's relationship. Former finance director from Mobile Visions also testified that he did know about Celeste. Today, we will hear from the medical examiner where more details about Celeste's condition when she was found will likely be revealed. Lauren Conlon will be updating us later today about what she heard upstairs.
Okay, so there's that. Of course, we already have her breakdown. We already saw it. So yeah, this is pretty crazy. Pretty crazy, guys. I will say, interesting. Romeo and Juliet applies if less than 3 years in age, which D4VD and Celeste are not. It also does not apply to minors under 14. Yeah, that's good to know. That's very, very good to know. See, that's something I think that we're all waiting for as well. Medical examiner is you got to remember, the medical examiner, this is the part that everybody's waiting for, because the medical examiner could also say she was with child. That maybe she was with child when she lost her life. She may not have been. Remember that they had conversations, but we don't know what the conversations entailed in the past. All we know is that there was conversation of with child and certain things to maybe terminate. That's it. So the medical examiner apparently is going to be testifying next. Within this, we could hear by end of day today that she was indeed or not prego. Yeah. So I think that's one thing that a lot of people are waiting for. Okay? A lot of people are waiting for that right now. Whether or not she is or she was with child or not. And if she was with child, this is a bad person. He going down. Okay. Yeah, Quantum. if Sheldon was driving them around, he would definitely know something. He would definitely know something. So yeah, guys, that is definitely something we are waiting on. That is definitely something we are waiting on as far as the medical examiner and whether or not they can confirm that. Remember, there was a whole thing, like they said, it was undetermined. They could not determine whether or not she was, with child or not, because her body was so badly decomposed that they couldn't really go, oh yeah, there's a, through testing we could see that she was with child. They couldn't. So I don't know what this this medical examiner is going to say. You never know. You never know. Yeah, I mean, there was skin slippage, as they said, with her face. Yeah, like Aurora is right. Decomposition was too severe. There was no face even. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's bad. Tootsie just said, Totski just said, the medical examiner record did say she was not with child. BJ investigates Reddit in one of her lives. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, because I remember one saying that they could not determine whether or not she was. So yeah, that's very interesting as well. Well, guys, I think I'm going to wrap up for now. I'm going to wrap up the show for now. There's a bunch of stuff that we definitely need to talk about. I got to take care of a few things here, outside of this show. But I will be back, of course, I will be back definitely because the Nolan Wells thing, we definitely need to do a Nolan Wells coverage. Brandon Tatum did a whole 3-part series, 3-part interview. We got to watch it all and check it out for ourselves together as a family. So we will be watching that this evening for sure. So I'll be back on in a couple hours. Actually, given the fact that I'm ending a little bit earlier, I may be on a little bit earlier than what I was previously planning on going on. So I may be back on around 7 Central Standard Time, 8 Eastern Standard Time to cover this Brandon Tatum interview about Nolan Wells, because we definitely need to talk about that. There's so many big things going on, like this one, like the D4VD trial, or the preliminary hearing. There's the Nolan Wells stuff that's still coming out. There's still more information coming out, which we need to talk about as well. So I will be back to wrap with you guys all about that in a few hours, okay? Because we got things to do, okay? And many things to cover. And of course, I will do a recap of this last half. Whatever is being heard from this medical examiner, we will talk about it for sure, okay? And then tomorrow we'll definitely be doing the preliminary hearing watch and be here to cover what is unfolding in that courtroom for this whole D4VD preliminary hearing, just so you guys know. So that is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really means a lot. Thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the conversation. Do me a favor before you head out. Hit that like button down below. Crush it. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, I'm on all them mugs. So make sure you hit that follow button. Subscribe right here on my YouTube channel. Subscribe. Make sure you go and check out, pinned to the bottom of the chat, this Nolan Wells video I just did this morning before we went live. Go check it out, okay? There's a lot going on and a lot of discussion to be had on that case and on this D4VD case, all right? So make sure you are subscribed to this YouTube channel. Go to the second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there as well. Please and thank you. Hit that join button down below. Hit that notification bell. Set it to all on both channels so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, okay? Don't forget to hit the join button down below. Check out my Patreon. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there. PascalMerch.com. I'll be back on in a couple hours. I'll see you guys very, very soon. Stay blessed out there, and I'll see you guys shortly. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another.